everyone. It's hot in New York City and the interest boiling in the New York Jets. Many fans in this hungry for a winner city are looking for a possible Super Bowl date way down the line. But right now, hot now. It might be freezing back when we talk about them in December. Conditioning could be a factor, Merlin.
Certainly could. This is the kind of day I hated to play on as a player. Going to be especially tough on the big men. And I think this kind of day pays a high premium on depth. That certainly would favor the Jets, Dick.
Well, history favors the Seattle Seahawks. In 6 meetings with the Jets, Seattle invariably the underdog. They've won all 6 times.
And in order to win today, Chuck Knox says he's going to have to control the football. That means handing off to his prize rookie, Curt Warner.
Curt Warner, the #1 draft pick, and of course for the New York Jets and Joe Walton, he has Freeman McNeil.
He certainly does. An outstanding runner, #1 in the NFL last year. He would very much like to give the ball today, as he did last week, to McNeil, who went for 120 yards and controlled the football last week.
There's Walton, a happy man. He has his first head coaching NFL victory. His team will receive to the right. The wind will favor the Jets here in the first quarter. Johnny Hector, Kirk Springs are deep. Norm Johnson of Seattle skids it down at the 15. Taken by Hector, the rookie, at the 5. He's out to the 20. And he's covered around the 23-yard line. The New York Jets, Richard Todd, #14, brings the offense on the field. Todd had a good game against San Diego last week. Freeman McNeil, 120 yards rushing in defense of his NFL running title of last year. Dwayne Crutchfield, quite a big compliment to McNeil in the backfield. Walker with the speed. Gaffney with the moves on the outside. The veteran, Captain Emeritus Jerome Barkham at tight end. The blockers are Ward, Waldemore, Fields, Alexander, and Powell. An excellent front 5 protecting Todd.
Todd felt he got off to a little bit of a shaky start last week. Let's see what he does in the early going here, Dick.
First down at the 23. Give it to McNeil. Breaks a couple of tackles. May have picked up 3 into the teeth of that white jerseyed Seattle defense. Let's check the men from the great Northwest. Jacob Green, Manu Tuiasosopo, and Jeff Bryant in the 3-4 alignment that Chuck Knox has brought from Buffalo. Schultz, Robinson, Butler, and Jackson, a fairly young group of linebackers. Defensive backs, perhaps the strength of this defense. Simpson and Brown at the corners. Kenny Easley, an all-pro in his second year, and John Harris, all-time leading interceptor for Seattle, are the safeties. Walker and Harmon. Harmon, the rookie, is slotted left on 2nd down and 8. Schuler in motion. McNeil for about 3 more as Tuiasosopo, first man to make contact. Schultz finished him off at the 29-yard line. Joe Walton, 47-year-old head man of the Jets, against Chuck Knox, looking for his first win as head coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
Dick, both coaches really approaching this game in the same way, feeling that the key for them will be controlling the football and controlling the clock, and we'll talk more about that. But Knox, of course, relying heavily on his rookie Curt Warner.
3rd down and 5. Todd's first throw, batted in the air. It's going to be almost intercepted by number 54, Eugene Williams. It was there for grabs. He came up a stride short. Number 77, Jeff Bryant, second-year man from Clemson, got a big paw on it.
Williams is the linebacker that goes in. They take all the regular linebackers out. Watch Jeff go up in the air right there, stretch all the way out, bats it up. I think if Williams had seen the ball in time, there was plenty of time for him to get to it. Just did not see it until it was too late.
Chuck Ramsey to kick. Gregory Johnson, rookie a couple of years ago, free agent pick out of Oklahoma State, to return 10 men coming after Ramsey. Beautiful kick with the wind. Spinning spiral. Johnson, that wind took it over his head, and he is down at the 20-yard line. Fumbles. The Jets are going to get a touchdown. Johnny Lynn. Now hold on, they're going to whistle it dead back at the 21-yard line, and I believe not only deny the touchdown, but give Seattle the ball. Oh my. So that quickly, a very difficult judgment by the officials. They said that progress had been stopped. The whistle had blown it dead. No fumble. Here it is again.
Unfortunately, Dick, we won't have the audio portion of this. Let's see if he does, in fact, get stopped.
Well, no way that his progress had been stopped, and the fans have just seen the replay and don't like it, understandably. Jim Zorn can't hear his own signals and asks for the officials to quiet the crowd, but you can't blame the Shea Stadium crowd for being angry. It appeared the Jets had a touchdown taken away.
Let's take another angle on that play. The ball fumbled, and I'm sure that created some problems for Johnson. Watch it. Marion Barber right there. Hit his hand right into the ball. Stripped the ball away. And I don't blame the Jets and their fans for being upset about that one. We may come back and look at that as being the turning point in this game before it's over, Dick.
Well, we're going to star that in the opening minutes. A touchdown that was not allowed, but clearly was a fumble. And we are all human, and it appears the officials have erred, and it's costly to New York. Let's see what it does for Seattle. The give to Curt Warner, their prize pick, #1 out of Penn State, the national champions of last year. Curt Warner in the backfield with Zorn, and David Hughes for the injured veteran fullback Cullen Bryant. Harold Jackson, he just needs 2 more yards receiving to move into the #2 spot all-time NFL history. Steve Largent, a great receiver on the other side. Charlie Young, veteran tight end. Essink, McKenzie from Buffalo, Bush from Cincinnati, Pratt, the former Colt, and August, the #1 pick of Seattle, form the offensive line. 2nd down 7. David Hughes. He burrows out to about the 28-yard line. Hughes from Boise State in his 3rd year, short of the first down by about 3. The defense in the green of the Jets: Gastineau, Neal, Lyons, and Klecko. The stock exchange and sack exchange: Buttle, Blinka, and Mel, the linebackers. Jackson playing with a broken finger, and Holmes at the corner, Schroy and Ray at safety.
Jackson is trying a different kind of cast on that finger, Dick, in hopes of avoiding the kind of pains that put him on the sideline during the second half last week.
3rd down and short, and out of the shotgun is Zorn for the first time. That's another innovation. The handoff to Warner, and he's trapped in the backfield. Marty Lyons made the play.
First man to hit him, Lance Mel. What a big play linebacker he's become. Let's watch number 56, Mel, come quickly inside. They're trying a little delay, almost a draw play. Watch Mel coming in right there. Puts the harness on him, and Lyons comes in along with Klecko to finish off the job. But they'll have to kick it away. Not much of a start for the offense.
Jeff West will punt for the Seattle Seahawks. Mike Harmon stands at the 30 for New York. No rush. And against the wind, an excellent kick. Harmon, pitcher's mound on the 17-yard line. Back to the 26. He fumbles and recovers himself. He appeared to be down.
Dick, let's think back to that apparent fumble and the call. But before we do it, we're going to break away just momentarily for a commercial.
Yeah, we got to do our business as well. There's no score here at Shea Stadium in the heat of...
If they can, they will try and control the football with the running game, sprinkle the passes in to keep the defense off balance. And I really believe that if one of these teams can do that effectively and the other one can't, that team will emerge very quickly as the leader and eventually the winner in this game.
You're saying the team that passes the most will not be the winner?
I think so, Dick. I think if you have to throw the ball today, you lose the ball game.
This is Crutchfield's first carry. He has a first down and more as he plows for about 7 yards out to the 41-yard line. The Jets very cleverly last week in San Diego ran to the turf side of the baseball alignment, and that was part of their strategy. Here they had no choice. They ran to the right on the skin, infield skin, here at Shea Stadium, and Crutchfield good yardage to the 41.
Very difficult to cut quickly on that skin turf. And of course, at this moment, where do you go to get away from it? They're going to have to run in the dirt on this play.
A triple left with Schuler, Gaffney, and Walker. And now Schuler in motion. McNeil. 45, 50, 45 and out of bounds at the Seattle 44. Freeman McNeil. John Harris finally bumped him out of bounds.
Tremendous blocking as you get pulls from Wallimore coming out, Alexander and Powell. Powell staying right out there in front. Alexander, number 60, out there, but Freeman McNeil running right through a tackle there, getting a big first down for the Jets. They were really proud of the way their offensive line functioned in front of Freeman McNeil and big Dwayne Crutchfield, also extending Todd some great protection in that big victory in San Diego.
McNeil 13 yards on the last carry. From the 46-yard line, Todd all day. McNeil has about 7 more to the 39-yard line of the Seahawks. Bruce Schultz from the University of Texas made the stop for Seattle.
The big pass rusher for the Seahawks is Jacob Green, number 79. Picked up 2 sacks last week, but the Seahawks really did not get that much pressure on Kansas City. There's Green. You see him, a young defensive tackle. They're two young defensive ends. 2 young defensive ends. Jeff Bryant, they say at the other end, is getting better all the time, and they need to get pressure from that 3-man alignment if they can. But they certainly have not done it so far on Richard Todd. And of course, when you're running the ball effectively, it's hard to go after that passer.
Todd to throw. Going for 6. He's got it. Walker there, but it's too long. Kenny Easley came over to help out from his safety spot. Going back to that defensive line, Merlin, Seattle has drafted and used their top picks to get linemen. Green, first-round pick out of Texas A&M in 1980. Tuiasosopo, first round the year before, 79 from UCLA, and then Bryant last year, a number 1 pick from Clemson.
Well, they've used a lot of first-round picks for that defense. In fact, 6 of the 11 starters on defense were first-round picks for the Seahawks.
It hasn't helped them. Their defense has not been good the last 3 years. From the 39, Freeman, McNeil, first down, following Marvin Powell to the 29-yard line. Boy, he's quite a horse to hide behind. Powell, the All-Pro from Southern California, 260-pound shield.
How would you like to have Marvin Powell bearing down on you? Watch McNeil set up the block here. Just lays in right behind Powell. Look at the block on the inside by 60, Alexander. Now watch Powell right over the top. McNeil waiting and getting every ounce that he could out of that play. But that's great when you have a tackle that can get out in front of that sweep and throw that kind of blocks for you. This Jet line really has turned into a powerful unit.
McNeil now with 28 yards already, and for some confusion, Richard Todd will have to spend a timeout. The New York Jets have called time with 8 minutes and 26 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Jets thought they had a touchdown. A quick whistle denied, but New York on the move. No score midway first quarter. You would expect out in the desert of California or Nevada. Low humidity, fortunately, below 40%, and the temperature near 100 degrees. Freeman McNeil from UCLA, the number 1 pick of the Jets in 1981, led the NFL in rushing last year, averaged 5.2 yards a carry. Last week, in gaining 120 yards against the Chargers, his average 5.2. And he's chewing up chunks in large amounts again today. Todd to McNeil. Breaking tackles, fumbles, and the Seahawks have recovered. It is John Harris to the 25, the 30. Now he might go all the way. Only Richard Todd to beat at the 40, the 30, and Todd gets him at the 22-yard line. Oh, and the fans, of course, remembering the play earlier in the game when the Jets were denied a touchdown. Don't like that one, but clearly a fumble in the open to Harris.
Freeman McNeil doing what makes him a great back, breaking tackles, taking some risks as a ball carrier. He's going to get a throw right here and is in the open. That's a little outlet pass. Watch him break the tackle. But in order to do it, he lost his balance, and you saw the ball breaking clear before he hit the ground. That's Easley, 45, coming up to make the hit. And now down the sideline. Well, we're going to go back and take another quick look at it from a different direction. Watch the break of the tackle here. And look at what happens when McNeil loses his balance, tries to catch it. Easley grabbing his arm from behind, and that's what cost him the ball right there.
Harris alertly, the safety from Arizona State, 62 yards on the return, all the way to the 22 of the Jets.
And Todd finally able to come over and desperately pull him down. Now Seattle is ready to get it off, Dick.
So New York denied 1 score. It looked as if they were moving. The fumble, and this is Curt Warner. Break breaking tackles. That was much the same play, and when he fumbles and the Jets say they have it, they do. Darrell Ray comes up with a football. Well, maybe that ball's perspiring today.
Well, they talk about the big play capability of both those defensive backs, Easley and Darrell Ray, and you saw it right there in back-to-back plays, and you also saw the danger of fighting for that extra yardage. Curt Warner here, good job of getting inside. Klecko working on him, gets a second hit there. 54, 50, no, that's 47. That's Jerry Holmes coming up to hit him first, and the ball stripped as he was fighting for that extra yardage. The Jets take it right back.
New York gets it at the 16-yard line. We welcome those of you who have been watching the New York Giants game as the Giants dramatically win in overtime in Atlanta 16-13. Other finals will be passing along to you. Buffalo upset Cincinnati 10-6. Pittsburgh a mild upset at Green Bay 25-21. Many of you saw the first half of our NBC doubleheaders from Cincinnati and from Green Bay. Here, no score. Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen. 8 minutes remaining in the first quarter. It's been a rather zany first quarter thus far. Todd looking for something big, in trouble, and Michael Jackson has him for the sack. Jackson, the linebacker from the University of Washington, who stayed home. Jackson celebrating. The fans at Shea don't like it, but certainly the Seahawks do. Now let's go to NFL 83.
Thank you, Dick Enberg. Len Berman in New York. Here's how the Giants won it. You just mentioned their victory. Ali Haji Sheik, the rookie from Michigan, from 30 yards away. Bill Parcells, a happy man, his first coaching victory. Giants win it in overtime. Back to you, Dick.
Thank you, Len Berman. So the two New York coaches now have the first win put safely away. That's Crutchfield, who was bothered with cramps in the second half at San Diego last week. Out of the backfield, complete to Augustiniak, breaks a tackle and is dumped at the 17-yard line. Jackson in on the stop along with Keith Butler, a 7-yard pickup, but that'll bring up third down and long for the Jets.
I talked to Crutchfield about the problems he had last week, and he said one of the things that has bothered him is that they have kept on him about his weight. He played at 245 last year. They've got him clear down to 230, although he's back to about 235 at the moment. But he said he thought that trying to lose the weight and trying to control his intake, and particularly of liquids, was the problem he had in San Diego. Looks like he's going to have that same trouble here today, Dick.
They went from 246 last year down to 232 this year, and even lighter. 3rd and 8. Incomplete at the 40-yard line. Intended for Scott Durking. Some of the fans want face mask call, but that is not face guarding. As long as you're not waving your hands, both hands, in front of the receiver, it's a legal defensive play.
Eugene Williams, 54, lone linebacker, running. He's entitled to that position, and you saw him put up one hand. He can put up one hand, and he can even wave one hand. But as you said, Dick, if the second hand goes up and you see them waving, there would indeed have been a call on that play.
Ramsey, who nailed a 51-yard punt with the win, his first effort today. 3 Seahawks with Gregory Johnson, the deep man, at his 38. Another perfect spiral. Johnson fumbled the first one. He clutches this one at the 35. And he's hit hard at the 44-yard line. Marion Barber, who is rapidly developing as the star of the special teams for the New York Jets, makes a stop. Chuck Knox, 51 years old, successful 5 years with the Rams, 5 more good years in Buffalo, and now his first season in Seattle. Warner again. Oh, he's galloping. He's mindful of a Walter Payton kind of stride, the way he hit the center of that line, and easily picks up the first down at the 37-yard line. And David Hughes, his fellow back, threw a good block in the hole.
They talk about this man already in terms of greatness. They compare him to O.J. Simpson, to Walter Payton. He says he just wants to be his own back. But one thing that his teammates said to do, they said watch his feet and don't ever go to sleep, because he keeps moving. He keeps his feet moving, keeps his balance. He's liable to pop out the other side of that kind of stack up.
Steve Largent in motion. First down at the 37. Warner again. And he meets a crowd of Jets shy of the 35-yard line. Ken Schroy up from safety to help out. Other scores. As we check late action today in the doubleheaders, Baltimore on a field goal by Allegre of 33 yards takes the early lead. The Raiders lead 6-0. Kenny King with a touchdown 6 yards, but the kick was wide. And New England leads Miami 3-0 down in the Orange Bowl on a Smith 22-yard field goal. Those are early scores. No score here in New York. 2nd down 8. Zorn to throw. Looking for Warner and batted away by Mel, and Mel in the deflection almost had it go off. Appeared the helmet of Warner and right back to Mel, who's been quite a ball hawk.
Zorn did not have a good week last week throwing the football, and part of that could be excused by the fact that his wife was expecting a baby at any moment. I'm sure his mind was partly on that particular event, but at any rate he needs to be there for this passing game to be effective. They do not have the kind of speed to open up a defense. They have a fine receiver in Largent, but Largent does not have blazing speed. And in fact, last week the leading receiver was Curt Warner with 6 receptions.
Well, the Jets look for the pass on 3rd and 8. Zorn out of the shotgun. Flags are down. Over the middle and incomplete to the tight end Charlie Young. Now let's check the penalty. By the way, just to complete the note that Merlin offered, Jim Zorn did have to wait till Monday, the day after the game, and his wife presented him with his 2nd daughter. Keith Butler also welcomed a son this past week.
Number
so
76.
Seahawks family is growing.
Decline.
Well, congratulations to both of those families and both of those proud papas. That was the first for Keith Butler. Of course, the Zorns already had a daughter.
Penalty declined, and from the 35-yard line, Norm Johnson, who has a powerful leg, his longest ever is 48 yards. This one would be 53 into the wind, so this would be 5 yards beyond his best as a pro in his 2nd season. Jim Zorn to hold. It is no good. Wide to the right.
Plenty of strength on that. It was long enough, Dick, but he just got it off to the right-hand side.
And into the wind. We could see a long field goal before this. New York Jets have the ball. No score here at Chase Stadium. A crowd of 55,000 sold out, welcoming the Jets back. They've been gone for a long time. They had 11 consecutive road games before this one, counting the preseason, the playoffs. You remember they had to play all 3 games on the road, and their last 3 of the regular season on the road. Field. Strong. He's all the way out to the 44-yard line. Gained an extra 3 after it appeared he was stopped. Tuiasosopo and Jackson collaborated on the tackle.
Just really has one of those powerful builds. There goes the messenger in. Scott Durkee, number 25. And one of the things that is interesting about substitution football, the kind of situation football we see today, is that a lot more players are in the game. And on a day like today, believe me, you don't mind seeing somebody trot out to take your position.
3rd down and 1. You saw Catlin indicating with the arm, watch out for the pass on 3rd and short. Well, Jeff Bryant, it's all a moot point now because Bryant jumping offside unless he was pulled offside.
Well, they seemed happy about it, so it was indeed motioned by the offensive line.
Appeared to be Chris Ward, 72.
Let's take a look and see if we can spot who is moving on that offensive line as we give the.
Number 72.
There was the movement.
3rd down.
So back to the 39-yard line on the penalty. And instead of 3rd and a yard, 3rd and 6, and that certainly changes both the offensive and defensive strategies. Todd has a man. Eric Gaffney and a 1st down near midfield. 10 yards on the throw.
Pass was completed to Derek Gaffney.
Derek Gaffney, the move man. He does not have the wide open speed of a Wesley Walker, but has great hands. In fact, by coaching notes, has only dropped 1 pass in 3 years. You see that just a gentle, soft reception of that football. And the key for the Jets in the early going here and in their game last week balance between the running game and the passing game. Good defense, good special teams. They've had it so far here today, Dick.
And another first down at the 49. Still no score. 3:15 left first quarter.
Oh.
Nice play by Dave Brown, the cornerback, who played off the receiver Harmon and then made his move and was just a half step short of picking that one off in the open field.
And as Harmon started back toward Richard Todd motioned to him. He said, when it's that slow, you got to come back toward me or that ball is going to be picked off. The good receiver must move back toward the ball. And Mike Harmon started the year as the running back, Dick. They felt that they were going to need him there. And then with the injury to Curt Warner, they moved him back to the wide out position. And on that play, he may have just cut a little early because the timing was not right. In that case, he's got to come back toward his quarterback.
And was reminded of that fact by Todd. 2nd and 10. Freeman McNeil cutting back inside, fumbles again. And the Seahawks have it at the 41-yard line. McNeil's second fumble, and Keith Simpson falls on it for the Seahawks. So the Jets have stopped themselves for the second time.
And again, the man who forced the fumble, number 45, Kenny Easley. Watch him. He's on Gaffney. Gets away right there. Comes in behind. Actually, that ball was loose early. It looked like Tuiasosopo was the man that stripped it. Manu Tuiasosopo, the man that knocked it away. And we can get his name right a few times today, but we're bound to get a few extra syllables in there, Dick.
You know, the irony of that is that Tuiasosopo and Easley, the two Seattle defensive players, were teammates of Freeman McNeil at UCLA. So ex-Bruins ganging up on one another, and Easley may have injured himself, and that could be costly. They consider him a golden athlete. They feel he'll be an all-pro as long as he wants to play.
Let's go back and look at that play as McNeil breaks into the open here, gets away from a tackle on the outside by Robinson, and you saw the ball knocked away. Tuiasosopo able to get his arm in underneath and punch the ball out. That's the second time today that McNeil has fumbled.
Easley appears to be not serious. From Florida State has become an outstanding defender in this league. Let's check elsewhere at NFL 83.
Well, Dick, a lot of people want to know how John Elway's doing down in Baltimore. About the same as he did last week in Pittsburgh. Typical of his day. Over the middle, dropped by his receiver, Sammy Winder. He is 0 for 3 with a sack. It's 3-0 Baltimore. Back to you, Dick.
Thank you, Len Berman. No score here at Shea Stadium in New York. Exactly 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Seattle, 2nd and 10 at the Seahawks 41. Two Jets fumbles by McNeil, hurting New York. Warner on the draw, tripped up just as he was breaking into the open. Marty Lyons got just a small piece on him.
The object of that kind of play, Dick, is to get the penetration of the offense or the defensive line. Watch Klecko, number 73, blowing by Essing. And that's exactly what they'd like to see him do. Opens up the hole from the inside, but Marty Lyons read it beautifully. Number 93 and Stan Blinka, number 54, finally put the clamps on Warner to keep him from breaking for a big one.
Gain of only 3 when it appeared Warner would get much more. Dornick has joined Warner in the backfield. A wide split, a pass formation, and the shotgun is Zorn. Lots of time. And he misfires as he was looking for number 89, Byron Walker. Good coverage from Bobby Jackson, and the Seahawks will have to give it up. And Zorn, who had a bad week at Kansas City last Sunday, is 0 for 4 today as you look at Wesley Walker on the Jet sidelines.
Dick, I can't ever look at Wesley without realizing what an amazing performance he has put on, in spite of the fact that he really is legally blind out of that one eye. And even though he can see shapes and a few other things, the depth perception that he's able to get with one eye, you shut one of your eyes and walk around trying to catch a football.
That is incredible. Jeff West, beautiful kick. Harmon inside his 10. Seattle bounce, and now a Jets bounce. Seattle bounce in that it didn't go into the end zone, and then a Jets bounce that it really bounded back, and New York will get position at about the 18-yard line. Well, a lot of you have been watching various games. Let's bring you up to date on the NFL action today. The Steelers beat Green Bay 25-21, first win for Pittsburgh this year. Buffalo, mild upset at Cincinnati, 10-6 winners. Dallas gave St. Louis a 10-0 start and then rolled over the Cardinals 34-17. In overtime, the Giants win 16-13. At Atlanta, Washington beats Philadelphia 23-13, bouncing back from that Monday night disappointment. And Cleveland outscored Detroit at Pontiac 31-26. We'll have more after this play. First down Jets at the 17. McNeil across the 20 to the 21-yard line, and he was really hugging the pumpkin that time. Less than 2 minutes left in a scoreless first quarter.
Some good aggressive play on the line of scrimmage by Jeff Bryant, number 77, who's working on Chris Ward, number 72. Bryant driving to the inside. Now watch him right here as he drives inside, coming off the ball quickly. Here he is right in the middle of your screen. Now watch him as he goes inside here. He's going to clear it off to the inside and break away and make the play inside.
Well, that is good effort to get a piece of McNeil. Second down and 6. And whistles before the play. You know that telestrator device where you draw the pictures and Merlin's working with, and it doesn't always cooperate. I've never seen anything or anyone give you more frustration than that telestrator, except for a guy that used to wear a St. Louis Cardinal uniform. That's the Conrad Dobler of your television life.
Still second down.
Well, Joe Walton hears the call, and back to the 16-yard line goes the football, where it'll be second down and a long 10. Freeman McNeil thus far 42 yards rushing, a 6-yard average, but he's also fumbled twice. Gaffney and Walker both to the left. That's where Todd's looking, and for Walker, and it's going to be intercepted. Was he inbounds? Yes. Dave Brown has the interception, his 26th as a Seahawk. That ties him with John Harris for the most in Seattle history. Brown, the last of the original Seahawks, and former #1 pick from Pittsburgh.
Position and timing. Dave Brown driving with the receiver, gets excellent position, turns his head. Now watch his head. Watch him turn at the last moment, receive the football right there, comfortably inbounds. Again, you get down almost on the field. Walker turns, and he has no chance. By position, Dave Brown has the football.
Well, Chuck Knox talked to him yesterday, said the 3 priorities: we have to run the football, we have to stop McNeil and the Jets running game, and we have to make the play. When the chance for the free ball is there, we've got to take it. Well, so far 3 turnovers for Seattle in this first quarter. 1:09 left, no score. Zorn going to go big? No, he's got Largent, his favorite target, and a first down at the 28-yard line. Steve Largent, he had 4 catches last week. He has 404 in his brilliant career in Seattle.
Dick, in times when the Hawks had little to boast of, they did have Zorn to Largent, and often that was enough to keep them in the game or even win the game. Largent, one of those miracle workers that seems to get the most of his talent and has always been able to make the big catch when you needed it.
They got him from Houston as a rookie back in '76 for a #8 draft pick. First down. Seattle trying to get on the board first. Hughes fighting inside to the 25-yard line, covered by several Jets. Warner slanting outside, trying to attract the attention of the New York defense as the final seconds tick away here in the first quarter. Seattle getting about 4 on that carry, so when we open the second period, they'll have it at the Jets' 25-yard line and second down and 6. So a rather crazy first quarter. The Jets gave it away 3 times, and the officials may have cost New York a touchdown. So Seattle and New York dead even after 1. That isn't there is turnovers. Jets 3, Seahawks 1.
No question about that, Dick. And this is the kind of game that Chuck Knox had hoped to see today. And it's certainly a game that his Hawks have a chance to win if it continues this way.
There's Curt Warner trying to get outside and then rolling out of bounds at the 21-yard line. He'll be short of the first down by a couple. Warner, who set all the rushing records, in fact 41 school records with the Nittany Lions, including most yards rushing in a career, 3,398. His dad and his brother, coal miners in West Virginia. And Curt glad to be right up on top of old terra firma. Cute little thing happened yesterday. The Jets on their Diamond Vision have pictures of all the players, and during the practice they were rehearsing that fact, and they put up Lance Mell's picture, and Curt looked up and says, "Hey Lance, how you doing?" A former Penn State man. Hughes appears to have the first down. He's to the 18-yard line, and that'll be enough for a Seattle first down, their deepest penetration of this game.
Running right up the gut at the Jets defense in at Blinka and Lyons and Kenny Neal. They were able to get in there behind their offensive line and get a good gain.
Kenny Easley a sprained ankle, and apparently it is serious enough now that they are going to x-ray it. We'll give you word as soon as we receive it.
You don't take a risk with a back as valuable as Kenny Easley, I'll tell you that.
Charlie Young in motion, and then right behind his block goes Curt Warner for about 5 yards. Also in blocking in front of Warner was Pete Metzelaars from Wabash College, a second-year man. He's one of several outstanding basketball players on the Seattle team. I don't think there's a team in the NFL that has so many former college basketball greats on it. Baltimore 3-0 over Denver in the second quarter. Raiders still lead 6-0, a mixed extra point by Los Angeles. Miami now has taken the lead against New England 7-3. Andre Franklin a 6-yard run, and New Orleans leads the Rams 10-0 in the second quarter out in the West. 2nd and 5. Flags down. That play just got off sloppily. People going in all directions, and it appeared that might be motion against the Seahawks.
Now, Kenny Neal moved early, and that may indeed have triggered some movement on the part of the Hawks. Neal did not move across the line, but someone else apparently did, as encroachment will be called against the defense.
There's Neal for the injured Abdul Salam. Salam expected back after the first 4 games. He has a shoulder rotator cuff injury. They mark off the penalty inside the 10 to the 7-yard line, and that's going to be good enough for a first down.
Number 99, defense, first down.
Gastineau.
It happens a lot of times, Dick. That's why I wouldn't blame it on Neal. But the movement inside, Gastineau sees that out of the corner of his eye, and he's trained to go on movement. And so he did indeed move and got himself across because he's snugged up on the ball. Neal was probably back a few inches and was not offside, but Gastineau was.
1st and goal for Seattle. No score in the game. Early second quarter. Warner. Big hole and a touchdown for Seattle. Curtis Warner. The Seahawks rushed for only 4 touchdowns all last year. Didn't get a rushing touchdown at Kansas City, but Warner has the first of 83 for Chuck Knox.
They came right back and they ran a sucker play on number 77. Kenny Neal. Now watch him as he drives inside, takes himself right out of the play, and you're going to have to tackle Curt Warner yourself as he comes right into your lap with his touchdown. Last week, his first NFL touchdown, he spiked the ball so hard it went into the stands.
That was after an 18-yard pass reception, so he has 1 catching, 1 running. Now the extra point by Johnson down the middle, and the Seahawks, the underdog by more than a touchdown, have taken the lead 7-0. Here's the score again.
Kenny Neal drove inside very aggressively and literally opened up that hole himself. And of course, Curt Warner more than happy to take advantage of it and put the points on the board.
Chevy Tire is taking charge. Moisture.
Merlin, are there hex teams? I know in baseball there's a pitcher you just throw out the glove and some clubs can't beat him. How about in football? Do you kind of worry about, if you're a Jet, worry about a team like Seattle?
Well, Dick, there is a tremendous swing in the level of emotion and in the level of concentration. And if a team believes, in fact, that they have a hex on another team or that they really have someone's number, they play better. And consequently, the same thing happens on the negative side. Sometimes a team seems to just be able to get all the breaks against you, and it makes you frustrated.
Well, that's certainly been the case thus far for Seattle as they lead 7-0. Todd trying to answer the encouragement of this crowd, and McNeil on a blitz coming through. No, it wasn't. It was 79 Jacob Green. He came through cleanly and got to McNeil almost as McNeil received the handoff.
Stunning to the inside from that 3-4 alignment. Jacob Green just flew in there, got a hold of McNeil before he could make any kind of a move at all. And McNeil lucky to shake him loose and get close to the line of scrimmage, but did manage to lose about a yard in the process.
Green, one of those former basketball players. He was a star in high school in Houston. Todd passes, interceptions. He had a lot of negatives, interceptions early, but under Joe Walton has really improved his record. And down he goes, the sack to Green. His first today, his third of the young season.
That's the second sack for the Seahawks today. Michael Jackson in earlier from his linebacking position, but that's the kind of pressure that the Hawks would like to have on. And you can see right now that the emotional level in this game has really swung to Seattle. And the Jets better get themselves on track here and get back and get moving, or the young Hawks are going to say, we've got it going for us.
Well, did you see that effort by Green? He fought through the block, and Ward actually then took his legs and tried to trip him again. He fought through all of that and still took down Todd with one hand. Third down and 20. Complete to Barkham, but the Seattle defense gave the Jets that pass. They weren't going to give the first down. 11 yards on the play, but that'll be 9 yards short of a first down. Fourth down, and Ramsey and the punting team comes on for New York. Richard Todd. His new agent said that finally Richard Todd is a New Yorker. He's callous. He said Richard, of course, is a sensitive young man. He's had his emotional highs and lows, and he just decided he's going to, New York's his town. He's going to forget about Joe Namath and that shadow and just be himself. Get the Jets into the playoffs again. 10 men up front. Ramsey from a crowd. Johnson. Oh, he did not have a fair chance to catch the ball. That is not a fumble. In fact, will be a penalty against the Jets. They interfered with his right to catch the ball.
And that's a shame, because Johnny Hector right down on top of him here. And if he had timed the play a little, Johnny Lynn, if he timed the play a little bit better, he might have had the fumble. Johnson did not call for the fair catch. And had that ball touched him first, it would have been a fumble. But look at this. The ball actually striking Johnny Lynn on the back of his shoulder. And you can't take away the opportunity of that man to catch the football, or you're going to be marched off on a penalty. And there it is right there.
Kicking team, first up.
Boy, the Jets' timing just has not been good, and yet so delicate. They almost had a touchdown it appeared they should have had, and then that play, it was just a fraction too soon, if indeed it wasn't a perfect timing. But it's Seattle that owns the ball, and the Seahawks also have the lead.
17 hours.
The devices, we go back and slow the action down. You'll see Johnny Lynn make contact right there, and the ball bounce off his shoulder. And certainly in this case, the officials made exactly the right call as they marched it off against the Jets.
15 yards out to the 44, so Seattle leading 7-0, owning the football. 11:14 left in the half. Inside to Hughes, and that's where Barry Bennett, number 78, makes the tackle for the New York Jets. Bennett in that right tackle for Lions at the moment. Today's game is brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevrolet is taking charge. By the Army, be all you can be. And by Valvoline, everything you need in a motor oil. Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, Shea Stadium, the temperature near 100 degrees. Seattle leading the Jets 7-0, and the Seahawks with the ball near midfield. Here's Curt Warner, the touchdown maker, and look at that cut. 40. Now a foot brace, and Curt Warner is all the way to the 26-yard line of New York. Oh, my.
And how good it is to have youth on your side. Warner working hard from his position, drives outside, but watch the change of pace right here. The little move right there, now the acceleration back to the inside. What a great move. They said that he could change direction almost as well as Gale Sayers. Now, you got to show me something to be compared to the great Sayers, but you saw some fantastic moves as Knox takes him out of the game, lets him take a breather. He has really worked hard here in this first half.
31 yards on that carry to boost his total up to 81, and a first down at the Jets 26. Given a breather, and Theodis Brown, Bigfoot Brown, another former UCLA player, is inside the Jets 20-yard line. Brown remembers the Jets rather fondly, and his very first start in a Seattle uniform was against the Jets, and he carried for 104 yards in a Seattle upset 19-3 a couple of years ago.
The Seahawks have only had 9 100-plus yards games from the running backs, 2 of them against the Jets. And the way Curt Warner is going here today, he may add to that total.
Warner still taking a breather, so it's Hughes at fullback and Brown the tailback, and he's a big man at 225. Hughes, and he fights forward for an extra yard that may be good enough for a first down.
Dick, we talked about this being a test of both teams physically, but it's also a test of character for the New York Jets. They certainly showed that they were ready to play football against a good opponent last week. They went out to San Diego on the road, won their opener, had not done that in a long while. But in order to be a championship team, they must win the games that they are expected to win. As you see them measure and indicate a first down, the Jets are going to have to win the games they are expected to win against teams that are not as good as they are. And so far in this game, they are not on the winning side.
Jim Zorn waiting for Curt Warner to come back into the huddle. David Hughes has said aloha on a first from Honolulu. A couple of former high school stars from the islands on the Seattle team. Hughes, the fullback who went to Boise State, and the backup center, Kane Kauai from Hawaii, a free agent rookie. This is Warner looking for a hole, and only an excellent open field tackle by Stan Blinka, number 54, denied Warner a possible score. Let's pause briefly from New York for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is Channel 5, KING-TV, Seattle.
Well, an upset developing here at Shea Stadium in New York on a desert hot 100-degree day. The Seattle Seahawks leading the New York Jets 7-0, and the Seahawks with the ball inside the New York 15-yard line. Second down and 9. And Warner is trapped in the backfield by Gastineau.
Jimmy Zorn going to a long count. He was able to get the Jet defense offsides earlier, and they jumped here, but they did not enter the neutral zone. That's a delayed kind of play, and Gastineau showing you the kind of quickness and speed that makes him such an outstanding defensive lineman. That's not a sack, but he did his sack dance anyway.
Fastest defensive lineman in the National Football League, and you could see there was plenty of blocking for Warner to the opposite side had Gastineau not caught him from behind. Out of the shotgun is Zorn. Third down, 13. Gastineau gets him. The Jets' first sack of the season, and appropriately it goes to Gastineau, trying to get this crowd to crazy up a little bit.
And it comes at a very good time for the Jets, as the Seahawks were driving the football primarily on the ground. Gastineau just gets a hand on Zorn and then says, hey, come on back here. You see his enthusiasm and his excitement. Even more important, cost him a few yards and put Norm Johnson out to about a 41-yard field goal.
Zorn to hold. With the wind, it's going to be good by plenty. Oh, that would have been good from 61 yards. 40 yards, and it kicked it like an extra point. And the Seattle Seahawks are trying to make things even more miserable for these weathered fans in New York. It's 10-0 for the Seahawks. Patriots. Kansas City visits Theismann and the Redskins. Pittsburgh will be at Houston. Baltimore at Buffalo. And late, it'll be Dan Fouts against Jim Zorn. San Diego and Seattle. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. The Jets trail 10-0. They start from the 20. And it's McNeil for 5. Now let's run down all the scores, and we invite you to stay tuned. NFL 83 will have a recap, the highlights and scores for you. The Giants in overtime defeated Atlanta 16-13. Cleveland 31, Detroit 26. The Bears beat Tampa Bay 17-10. Washington over Philadelphia 23-13. Dallas beat St. Louis 34-17, and it was Pittsburgh at Green Bay a winner. Pittsburgh 25, the Packers 21. Buffalo beat Cincinnati 10-6. Games underway. Baltimore leads Denver 3-0 in the second. It's 10-3 Miami over New England in the second. The Raiders lead Houston 13-0 in the second, and New Orleans 10-0 over Los Angeles in the second period. We're up to date. Look at O'Neal. And finally chased down at the 42-yard line by Paul Moyer. 17 yards for Freeman McNeil. The Jets trying to get on the board. They trail 10-0. 6 minutes remaining. Let's go to New York and NFL 83.
Thank you, Dick. You gave all the scores. Here's how the Raiders took that 13-0 lead. Pruitt faked left, went right 11 yards, and Greg Pruitt puts the Raiders on top of Houston 13-0. Back to you, Dick.
Thanks, Len Berman. 41-yard line, Jets with a first down. They trail 10-0. Single back is Durkin. No, make that Crutchfield. And he powers across the 45-yard line, and it takes a lot of weight to drag him down. Michael Jackson, along with John Harris on the tackle.
Michael Jackson, one of 2 players on the field today that was involved in a little bit of film study by Pete Rozelle. Both Jackson and Stan Blinka sat down for a game last year because of aggressive play, and I think that's a good policy by the commissioner to review each game film that comes in, make certain that there's not the kind of play that's going to put somebody out of the game or in a hospital.
Second down, Crutchfield looking for a first down, and he may have it at the Seattle 48-yard line. Clock ticking away, 4:05, 4:04 left in this first half. The Jets have been held scoreless thus far, 10-0 Seattle.
We certainly can look at the scoreboard and don't see anything for them, but they will still feel, I think, after this game that they earned themselves a touchdown at the very beginning of the game, Dick.
In case you weren't with us, in the first couple of minutes on the first punt of the game, a fumble by Johnson was picked up by Johnny Lynn and into the end zone for a touchdown, but the officials, a quick whistle, had blown the ball dead when it appeared on the replays that indeed it should have been a fumble. McNeil behind Ward. Look how he uses that blocker and then breaks into the open. He's all the way to the 29-yard line. Yards, Merlin.
A fine run by Freeman McNeil. You'll see him coming out behind the pulling offensive lineman. Look at the way he uses the blockers there. Jerome Barkham, 83. Looked like they had a hold of his helmet. You see him put his hand up? I think that first tackler, Dick, got his finger in the ear hole of Freeman's helmet, and he went to his ear as he pulled his head back up.
You saw the graphic, 82 yards in this first half for McNeil. Curt Warner has picked up 78 yards for Seattle. First down inside the 30. And Todd looking for 6. Instead goes short and it's incomplete. Crutchfield hit immediately by Kenny Easley, a pair of 45. Boy, had Easley. They say that if you have the football, it's hazardous to your health if you're in Kenny Easley's territory. You look at 57, Sheldon Robinson, Easley number 45. Second and 10 at the 29.
Joe Walton hasn't panicked, Dick. He's still running the kinds of plays he designed for the Seahawks, and even though they're 10 points down, they're moving the ball comfortably down the field. They do need a score of some kind to culminate this drive, though.
3:20 left in the half. Crutchfield, big hole, and he has a first down at the Seattle 17. Oh, what a block on that left side by the Jets line.
Jets talking all week about the fine blocking over there of Chris Ward and Stan Wallimore. Right here you see Crutchfield. When he gets down the field and running full speed, you don't need much in front of him. Boy, he has a load to stop. Mickey Schuller, the guy who came up, Mickey was the guy that came up and finally put it down.
16-yard line, first down for the Jets as clock ticks away toward the 2-minute warning. McNeil solo back behind Todd. Complete to Harmon at the 10-yard line. Butler made the tackle after 6 yards. That'll probably be the last play before the 2-minute warning. There's Mike Harmon. Lamb Jones will not play again today, so Harmon's seeing a lot of duty. He's a rookie from Mississippi, an 11th round draft pick. Younger brother of Clarence Harmon, who played running back with the Washington Redskins.
Interesting choice by Joe Walton. He said that Lamb Jones could indeed play today, but he didn't want to use him. He was afraid he might get him hurt and would lose him for a good part of the season.
Well, a timeout to talk things over on the Jet sidelines. Pass to Harmon, a 2-yard run by McNeil, so it's 3rd and 2 now at the 7-yard line. And Durking plowing to about the 6. That's going to be very close to a first down.
And of course, it looks like they're going to be just a shade short of that. Now, depending on the mark, last week, Joe Walton had really 4 choices on 4th down. Do we go for it? Do we not go for it? On all 4 occasions, they decided to go for it and made the yardage. Now let's see what he does here.
He starts the field goal unit on the field, and now he's going to call him back, I believe. Oh, that'll please the fans. They don't want 3. They want a touchdown.
Well, they've taken out the measuring stakes, and I think he wants to see how far it is. He wants an idea of exactly how much they're going to have to get to make it. There it is.
Again, against the Chargers last week, Walton showed he was a gambling coach. 4 times on 4th and short, he went for it and won all 4 times. And the players praised him for that kind of confidence all week long. Players like that.
They certainly do, and the fans aren't too unhappy about it either. Let's see how they react, how they would react, in fact, if he were to go short.
Well, it's 4th of 5 4th down attempts last week. One of those was just Richard Todd on 4th down at the end of the game calling on the football. 4th and inches. Trailing 10-0. A minute 10 left in the half. Durking and Augustiniak are the running backs. Todd sneaking ahead for the first down.
A lot of movement down there before that play, Dick, but no flags on the ground. It looks like the first down has been achieved, and there's a timeout signaling from the sideline.
56 seconds to stop the clock. Jets had to use a timeout, remember, early in the first quarter, so they have only 1 left.
Jacob Green, number 79, jumped, and indeed the Seahawks were offsides at the beginning of that play.
Todd diving over his center, Joe Fields, the Pro Bowler, for a 1st and goal at the Seattle 5.
I'm Manu Tuiasosopo, defensive tackle for the Seattle Seahawks.
So well by Tuiasosopo, furnished as a public service by the National Football League. In the final minute, first half, Jets trailing 10-0. Todd looked as if his arm was hit. Gaffney was open. He had a step on Simpson, but the ball flopped short. Jeff Bryant either had Todd or the ball.
Hard to tell which, as that ball just kind of floated out of there. Bryant doing his own version of Gastineau's dance. Bryant will come from the top of your picture. Let's see whether he touches the ball or Todd's arm. Right there. It looked like Todd didn't get that ball released properly. And I don't know whether it was touched or not in the air. It was not out of his hand very well, I'll tell you that.
From the 5, 2nd and goal. McNeil runs into his quarterback and then runs into the Seahawks, but he almost gets in anyway. What an effort. He's all the way to the 1-yard line. Boy, that play, a foul right from the start, and McNeil turned it into a 4-yard gain. It's 3rd and goal inside the 1. 30 seconds left in the half. Todd. Touchdown. Oh, he did not hang on. Wesley Walker. Now another 4th down decision, and you got to figure that Walton, who's 5 for 5, will go for it again. No, he's bringing on Pat Leahy. Does not want to risk not getting any points in this first half.
The quick go here as he throws the ball high, and it was costly. They gave up an early timeout, Dick, and I think they really felt like they were under the gun here. Wesley Walker able to get his hands on that ball, but you see Walton's disgust. He wanted the 7 points, and I'm sure that they'll be happy to go in without being shut out in this first half, but they dearly wanted that touchdown.
Well, credit Keith Simpson for saving a touchdown. Walker obviously had it. Leahy, no more than an extra point, but it counts for 3, and it's 10-3. The fans boo, and now they reflect back on the very early moments of this game when they thought they had a touchdown, and it was denied on a fumble and a quick whistle. So Keith Simpson, as Walker had the ball for a touchdown, but Simpson able to reach in and rip it away, and the Jets have to settle for 3. So with 22 seconds left in the half, it's 10-3 Seahawks. Let's go.
Patriots here. David Woodley throws a touchdown to young tight end Dan Johnson. That makes it 17-3. The Patriots haven't won there since '66. Back to you.
All right, Len. And for the Jets, they'll be kicking off now to Seattle with just 22 seconds left in this first half. Well, your feelings, Merlin. One about the Heat, one about the fact that here's an underdog that has never lost to the Jets. 6 out of 6 for Seattle. They're apparently going to be leading at halftime. What's that do at the intermission for these two clubs?
Now you're looking at a very narrow gap, especially for a team like the Jets that have so much offensive firepower. But certainly Chuck Knox has to be pleased. His team has played the kind of football he needed to play in this game to win. They have run the ball well, and they have played solid defense. He needs to continue on that track. The Jets, on the other hand, really have to improve if they're going to win this game.
Into the wind, and to Ken McAllister at the goal line. McAllister to the 16-yard line, and with it a flag. McAllister, who did not play any college football, in fact was a basketball starter at the University of San Francisco. 6'5" point guard with Quentin Daly with the Dons.
You rarely see a man of that height. He's 6'5", as you said, Dick, on the return team. That's unusual, and one of the reasons you don't see it very often is when they run, that ball is up very high off the ground, and it puts it at about the level of the heads who are being driven into.
That's a good point.
His chest.
I never thought of that. Indeed, most of the good return men are the shorter backs and not somebody too tall.
Holding number 56, receiving team, first down.
Well, Seattle undoubtedly in this situation with the ball inside the 10-yard line. Chuck Knox isn't going to take any chances. 16 seconds left in the half.
Knox is a conservative coach by nature anyway, and certainly will be more than pleased to go into the locker room at halftime with that 7-point advantage.
Yards rushing, the two men we expected to see carry the ball have and have done it very effectively, although McNeil has fumbled twice today. Zorn sits on it, and the Jets will let the clock run, even though they do have one timeout left. Both clubs will head to the coolness of the cellar locker rooms here at Shea Stadium. And Chuck Knox and the Seattle Seahawks
in favor of the Jets, as they were able to control the football with 130 yards rushing, most of that in McNeil's hands. Of course, Seattle not far behind, and there's the passing yardage. It is different, although 45 yards in a half is not a very good outing for Richard Todd.
Seattle will get the ball to start the second half, and will have the wind in the third quarter. Richard Todd tuning up his team, favored and handily against Seattle, but trailing 10-3 at the halfway mark.
Dick, it's been my experience with teams that have had their way in the first half, and there's no question that Seattle got virtually every break that came along, or most every break that came along. The touchdown that was called back, the 2 fumbles by McNeil, the interception, and not to have more points on the board is going to be a little discouraging for them.
Boy, Leahy really roots one out, and the Seahawks, McAllister, will take the touchback at the 20-yard line. So Leahy continues to power the ball deep on those kickoffs. So Seattle takes the field first on offense. Jim Zorn, the quarterback, will have Curt Warner. The rookie is certainly showing some brilliant moves in that first half and scoring the game's only touchdown. At fullback for the injured Cullen Bryant will be David Hughes. The line of Essink, McKenzie, Bush, Pratt, and August. Tight end Charlie Young. And the wide receivers, Harold Jackson, still looking for his first catch, needs 2 yards to move past Lance Allworth into the number 2 position all time, and Steve Largent, the other wide receiver. 91 yards last week in the first half, 2 yards in the second half because the Seahawks didn't run the football. They will in this half. And Warner gets it first, and look at him go. What moves by Warner as he's past the 35-yard line. And indeed, he has that ability to give you the feeling all 200 pounds is going one way, and the next moment the tackler sees him going the other.
Watch Curt Warner shift direction here. I don't think you'd want to be down there trying to tackle him. Look at the way he's able to adjust his body weight. Tremendous balance. Look at that move on Darrell Ray. Just absolutely freezing Ray. Ray doing everything he could to get his hands on him. Warner has an ability to come out with big plays right at the first of a game and at the first of a half, and that was one.
So first down across the 35. It's to Hughes inside and no hole at all. Kenny Neal seemed to block it well for the Jets.
Nick, one thing that is very important is the ability of the Jets defense to get off on the right foot here. If Knox's Seahawks can take the ball and move down the field, then they can establish the fact that in the second half that nothing has changed. And obviously the Jets want some things to change dramatically.
Well, Neal from Iowa State making that defensive play and stop Cole, so it'll be second down and 10. Largent right, Jackson to the near side. Zorn for only the 6th time to throw. Incomplete to Charlie Young and broken up neatly by Darrell Ray. Well, we're seeing two of the fine young safety men in the National Football League matched in this game. Darrell Ray from Oklahoma in his 4th year for the Jets. In 3 years, 16 interceptions, 3 touchdowns, and of course Kenny Easley, a hard-hitting safety man who was injured for Seattle.
Darrell Ray did a fine job, and let's give some credit to that Seattle offensive line. We talked about the Jets offensive line, but Seattle has played very well. Their offensive line very well. In fact, Reggie McKenzie and Ron Essing, questionable for this game, have both done a fine job on that left side.
Out of the shotgun is Zorn. He likes Largent. And goes to Harold Jackson, and that is a very important catch for the veteran wide receiver from Jackson State. Harold Jackson now is second only to the former Jet Don Mader in all-time receiving yardage. And remember when he was a rookie with the Rams, they called him Double O Soul out of Jackson State. He used to wear 00 there. He looked too small. Someone said, get that little kid off the field before he's hurt. He's never been hurt. 16 years in the league. 37-year-old Harold Jackson has just passed Lance Allworth, number 2 all-time in receiving yardage, and what a man he is.
The second completion of the day for Jimmy Zorn, and it couldn't have come at a better time for the Seahawks.
First down at the Jets 45. Warner. Fans are cheering because Gastineau had Zorn, but Zorn didn't have the football. Warner is to the Jets 42-yard line. Well, one of the nice things about records is it gives us a chance to salute those who set them previously. Lance Allworth from the University of Arkansas. Interestingly, he was Jackson's idol. They're both high school products from the state of Mississippi. That flowing style and leaping talent and speed of Allworth, and Jackson in many ways reminds you in style of the man he has just passed.
It certainly does. Both great receivers, and who can forget Bambi's ability to go up and pull the long one down. What a great receiver he was.
Second down 7. Warner on the draw has a first down inside the Jets 35-yard line. Mark Gastineau from behind makes the tackle. And it appears Ken Easley, well, his pads are off. His day's work is done.
We have not had a report on the severity of that injury, but certainly the fact that he is not dressed for action would mean it's bad enough to keep him on the sideline. They would hope, we would hope too, that he is not going to be sidelined for more than a single game. He's an important cog in that defense.
There's Curt Warner, 105 yards rushing, 16 carries for the rookie from Penn State. He's got the pumpkin again. And much like McNeil, not going at full speed, just at 3/4 speed behind the blockers, looking for a little daylight, and picks a hole and gains 5 more. As Merlin pointed out in the first half, only 10 times one of the Seahawk running backs have gained 100 yards or more. 3 times against the Jets, and Warner's the 3rd man to do it, and Warner has not gotten up, unfortunately.
Certainly one of the great concerns for this Seahawk team is keeping that prized rookie in health. And let's go back and perhaps we can see how he was injured on this play. Warner has good speed, but the important thing for this young man is his ability to read the open turf. He does a good job of it there. Hard to see what happened to him. He was stacked well.
Looked like he might have gotten his hand and arm caught underneath his body. Timeout, 10-3 Seattle.
And they've come out and done that. They've protected their quarterback very well, and they have blown the Jets defensive line and linebackers off the ball. If they can continue to do that, they are going to win this football game.
They continue without Curt Warner. Dornick behind Zorn. First and goal at the 9. Dornick again. And Big yardage all the way to the 2-yard line. And some great blocking again from 61 Pratt, the right guard from North Carolina, and Steve August, number 76, the Tulsa product from on that right tackle side.
A little feeling for the kind of pressure being put on. Look at those Jets going the wrong direction toward their own goal line. Let's go way up high in the air, and you'll get a feeling. Watch the surge now. Look at that offensive line for Seattle come off the ball. Both tackles knocked off the ball. Kenny Neal and Marty Lyons both knocked off the ball on that play.
2nd and goal from the 2. Dornick again, same hole, but it closes this time as number 78, Barry Bennett from Concordia of Minnesota, made the tackle. No gain. Well, to the well one time too many. But it was going so well, why stop until you find out? It's the 14th play of this drive as Seattle has consumed over 6 minutes of this 3rd quarter already. Panorama, the view from atop Shea Stadium. 3rd and goal at the 2-yard line. Brown and Dornick are the running backs. 2 tight ends. Deotis Brown. He's not in. He stopped shy of the goal line. Trying to spin and twist, and an interesting decision coming up for Chuck Knox.
An exciting decision for Knox. You saw the choice earlier in the game on the other side of the line as Walton, who had chosen to gamble last week, turned conservative just before the half, and now Knox, I believe, has said, let's go for the touchdown. Of course, he has the lead. He has a little edge here.
He has the lead, and he figures even if he doesn't make it, the Jets will start from the 1-yard line. Big play early in the 3rd quarter. 8 minutes left in this period. 4th and goal from the 1, and the crowd on its feet. Brown, and the Jets have stopped the Seahawks. Change the flow of the game. Lance Mell spearheading the defensive charge, stopping Brown cold.
Very slow acceleration by Deotis Brown as he heads in from the right-hand side. Just no way that he was going to be able to get into that end zone. It's one of the problems he has as a runner. But look at that's Ken Schroy, 48, who hit him first. And I think if Schroy had been there by himself, he was going to make that tackle.
And actually, Blinka was there and Mell assisting. Actually, a yard loss on the play, and the Jets take over at their 2-yard line.
And what could have been an emotional disaster for the Jets suddenly becomes a very emotional, uplifting play, and they take the ball at their own 2.
The Seahawks driving the full length of the field, only to be stopped on 4th and goal at the 1-yard line. Now it's the Jets' turn.
There's only one way America is going to regain leadership with
a crucial goal line stand, denying Seattle a chance to build on a 10-3 lead from the 2. Richard Todd to Freeman McNeil, and he's to the 5-yard line. I understand that Warner, a slight groin pull, but should return if needed in the 2nd half for Seattle.
And of course, we have to ask the question, would they have been denied the touchdown if Warner had been in the game, or even if Colin Bryant, their starting fullback, had been in the ball game? Bryant, of course, noted for his quick acceleration, would have been at the line of scrimmage much more rapidly than Deotis Brown.
Thus far, Curt Warner out rushing Freeman McNeil, but it's McNeil's turn, 2nd and 7. He's the only back behind Todd. Todd from his own end zone. Under pressure, going for Walker. He's got it at the 45-yard line of Seattle. Todd to Walker, 48 yards.
A chance to watch Walker at the top of your screen. Now watch him working on Brown right there. He's going to take it all the way down inside. A little wiggle to the outside. He didn't even bother. He just blew right on by him. Now watch it right here. Ball slightly underthrown. Brown never did see the football. Actually could have, I think, been called for interference there. But what a great catch by Walker, and what a big boost for the New York Jets.
First down at the 47 of Seattle, trailing 10-3. Middle of the third quarter. Freeman McNeil. He is to the 35-yard line. First down for the Jets.
McNeil getting his chance, as Warner did on the first drive by the Seahawks. Look how quickly he's in through there. Joe Fields, number 65, getting a beautiful block inside. But the thing that's so outstanding about McNeil is his ability to see and accelerate and get to the open area on the field. Both of these backs are just great at doing that, Dick.
And McNeil now given a breather, 108 yards rushing in the game. This is Crutchfield.
Fumble.
And the Seattle Seahawks have recovered. John Harris, number 44, who recovered a fumble and ran it 62 yards back in the first quarter, has the loose one again. Oh my, you can just feel the air go right out of this stadium. That's the fourth Jets mistake, and Seattle has its third fumble recovery to go with an interception.
3 times the Jets have coughed the football up when it appeared that they had things going for them. It looked like that ball just bounced away.
And when we return, it'll be Seattle back in possession at its 32-yard line, leading by 7. Incredibly hot day in New York City. Seattle has recovered another fumble to stop the Jets at the Seattle 32. And Curt Warner back in the game, runs into a crowd. Everyone in that front line with a piece of Warner after a yard or two. Well, Merlin, we're keeping track of your prediction that the team that throws the least will win the game, and so far Seattle 3 for 9 passes. The Jets have thrown 8 for 16, so the Jets have thrown more. They've also given up the ball more, and Seattle does indeed lead 10-3.
One other thing that Chuck Knox said to me before the game, he said if it becomes a battle of big plays, we really don't have a chance to win. We don't have big play people. He was not accurate there. They have made the big plays today, and that particular play, one of the many that they have made.
Warner comes out and Brown is back in, and this is Theodis Brown, and he gets just a couple on 2nd and 9. Not much there at all, and Warner shaken again. It's 10-3 Seattle here at Shea Stadium. Let's check elsewhere. NFL 83.
All right, Dick, Bill McAtee back in New York, and the Dolphins are really pouring it on the New England Patriots. 27-3 now. David Woodley to the acrobatic Wanduriel Harris, 63-yard touchdown pass. It is now 27-3 Dolphins.
Here, Seattle leads the New York Jets. Well, New England might as well just mail in those games down in the Orange Bowl. Jim Zorn on 3rd and 7. Throwing for Harold Jackson, incomplete at the Jets' 41-yard line. Jerry Holmes and Darrell Ray with the coverage. And a Jet player down at the line of scrimmage.
It looks like Joe Klecko who's on the ground, and that's not good news. They certainly don't want to lose their right defensive end. No, it is not Klecko. It's Gastineau. No, it's Lyons. Hard to see. It is Marty Lyons, but they did get excellent pressure. That's virtually the first time all day that they have really put a squeeze on Zorn, and that's been one of the big differences in this game. Of course, when you're playing the run play after play, it's difficult to gear up for that pass rush.
Yeah, back deep is Mike Harmon, and still on the field is Marty Lyons as they attend to him at the 25-30-yard line.
Dick, Lyons has had ankle problems. In fact, was used just rarely in the preseason, and it appears that he may indeed have hurt that ankle, but he's walking good now. That's walking properly. It's good to see him up.
Let's pause briefly for station identification from New York. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is KING-TV, Channel 5, Seattle.
Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen. Shea Stadium sold out in hot New York City. The Seattle Seahawks leading the New York Jets 10-3. They've taken the ball away 4 times. The Jets only once from the Seahawks. The underdogs in the game, leading by 7, have never lost to the Jets. 6 out of 6 since they joined the National Football League. And Jeff West will be kicking off the pitcher's mound. And able to get on the grass with the wind, sends it toward Harmon at the Jets 24. And Harmon to the 32-yard line. Little extracurricular activity. Eric Lane, number 37, and Rusty Golbo of the New York Jets. 42-yard punt, an 8-yard return, and we have a timeout with 3 minutes and 42 seconds left in the third quarter. Jets have the ball. Seattle the lead. Corey Leibel, our acrobatic cameraman, high atop Shea Stadium. That's his bird's eye view. Jets with the ball at the 32. Richard Todd and his New York teammates trailing Seattle 10-3. Freeman McNeil with a little misdirection, and McNeil out across the 45 to the 50, and a first down. Harris made the tackle. McNeil rolling up 18 more yards. Another big day for the man who led the National Football League in rushing in the strike-shortened season of '82.
Seattle Seahawks defense pressing a little bit, reacting quickly as McNeil took a little jab step. He came back, found some open turf, running in behind the block of Chris Ward on that side, and Stan Waldemar done an excellent job for him today.
3:04 remaining third quarter. Looking for Wesley Walker. Throws it away as Walker well covered downfield by John Harris. Todd might have been surprised by the route run by his receiver. It appears that he was looking for something else.
Yeah, you see him say, I thought you were going to cut inside on that one. One of the things that Joe Walton has done for Richard Todd is to help him to relax and not to feel that he has to carry the burden of the entire offense on his shoulders. He really felt for a long time if he didn't do it, it wasn't going to happen. And he really has become more patient, and with that patience has come an improved Jet offense, although they have not been that improved here today. They have made a lot of mistakes that have hurt them deeply.
3 fumbles and 1 pass interception. Draw to McNeil. Boy, look at him just shred a tackler. Hardly slowed him down, and it was a head-on collision, and McNeil driving forward for about 7 yards before John Harris could make the stop. Well, the Jets have had some problems with the city of New York and Shea Stadium, and they're still negotiating on their lease. And as you look to the west in the setting sun and the high silhouette of Manhattan, just a little bit farther is East Rutherford, New Jersey, and there has been some talk about the Jets not playing here next year, that they might join the Giants over in Jersey, a Giants stadium. I don't know what they'd call it then. Giant Jet Stadium. 3rd and 2. And incomplete to Barkham, and a flag is down, and so is Todd, as he was hit on a safety blitz by Gregory Johnson.
Todd leveled by the blitz, but hard to tell. Barkham complaining about being bumped. Some of the Seahawks claiming that they were interfered with on the play.
Flag was
We'll let the officials sort
for
this one out.
offensive interference. However, the ball was not catchable.
Call it on Barkham.
No foul.
Or incidental, I guess they're calling it. 4th down.
What they're saying in essence was there was no chance to catch the ball, therefore no penalty. Watch the shot here by number 27, Gregory Johnson. He just blows right through Todd. Todd delivered that ball high. No way he was going to catch it. Therefore, the penalty will not be enforced.
The Jets, Chuck Ramsey in to punt once again. Johnson, the man who just made that defensive charge on Todd, drifts back along with John Harris to the Seattle 10. With 2:08 left in the third quarter, and the Jets stopped once again. Ramsey is the emergency quarterback, always a threat, but not this time. Punts it toward Harris. Levels the man, and that's going to be a penalty. He did not call for the fair catch, but certainly that was rude enough the way he threw that forearm, and seemed quite unnecessary. And the flag does go down, unnecessary roughness, and the ball also downed at the 5-yard line.
You can't use that forearm as a weapon, and we'll give you a chance to see it as he just fired that elbow out. Roundhouse version. Watch it yourself right here. Comes forward and shoots the elbow right into the shin. This knocks his man right down. You can't get away with that. Would have been a penalty also had he signaled a fair catch and blocked.
No foul.
Oh, now they're saying no foul, that it was a legal block, that he did not call for the fair catch. Boy, he certainly looked like a young Hector running into that forearm, and you don't want to encourage that kind of play.
No,
he got away with it.
I'd put a flag on him for using the forearm.
10-3. Seattle leads. We have a timeout.
Elway from the shotgun. Blitz up the middle by Vernon Maxwell and Greg Graceland. Maxwell spills him. Here they come, boring up the middle. Vernon Maxwell takes him down. The score in Baltimore, 3-3.
And our thanks to Marv Levy. Here's that last play again.
Hector certainly will learn to get his eyes down on the field level, but I got to tell you, Dick, I'd have put a flag on him for using that forearm.
First down at the 5-yard line for Seattle. Fumble! And it will go to the Jets. They covered it before it went out of bounds. The Jets have it. John Woodring, number 57. Linebacker from Brown. No, it looks like 55, Crosby. Woodring made the hit.
Crosby in there for the injured Greg Buttle, who's got a sore shoulder. Give you a chance to see it now. Warner going left. Woodring right up, blasts him at the line of scrimmage, knocks that ball away, much the same as it was stripped away from the Jets. And they have to get it before it goes out of bounds. Controlling it right on the sideline. Another look at the good hit. Hand right into the football.
Boy, fumbles have really been the story of this game. That's the 5th turnover on fumbles. And the Jets have it first and goal at the 4. Looking for a tying touchdown. Todd to Walker. Touchdown! No, he's out of bounds. He didn't get both feet down. Oh, ever so close.
Kenny Easley out of the game. Paul Moyer, number 21, an inexperienced defensive back. Let's watch Walker. First foot in and second foot out.
Clearly out. Andy Rosenberg, our director, Larry Cirillo, our producer. Excellent coverage from Shea Stadium in New York.
I've got to second guess the call a little bit, Dick. I think with 4 downs down there, you're going to get it across running. Now you've got 3. You're almost forced to pass again.
Freeman McNeil, he scored on a draw at San Diego in this situation. It's McNeil off tackle, and he is brought down for a loss by Jeff Bryant, the first-round pick from Clemson a year ago. Member of the Tigers National Championship unbeaten team of 1981.
It's great when you can get that easy score with a pass down there, but when you have that ball inside the 5-yard line or on the 5-yard line, they were inside, they were almost on the 4, and you've got 4 downs to punch it in. I certainly favor the conservative idea of jamming it down their throats and putting it in the end zone.
Ooh, McNeil, very rarely animated, really disgusted. It's at the 6-yard line. He fumbles, and it appears Seattle has recovered. How do you do? Oh, my.
Richard Todd scrambled for some big plays last week against the San Diego Chargers, and for just a moment it appeared that he had an open field and perhaps even a chance to score. Caught from behind, the ball shaken loose, a turnover again, a chance for you to see it. Todd back, no receiver available for him, hits right up the center here. Now watch it. It's Jeff Bryant who comes over from behind, and Todd swung the ball out behind him. Bryant just whacked the football. Maybe we can see this. 77, the man who's going to get it. Right there. Todd had actually even booted it, I think, before Bryant got there.
Looked like he threw it right out of his own hands, and it was covered by Paul Moyer, a free agent from Arizona State. You saw him hanging onto the ball. And that's just exactly what the Seahawks are trying to do, as we have had 6 fumbles in this game, plus a fumble that was not ruled such at the start of the game that would have been a Jets touchdown but for an early whistle. So that has been the key. Can you hang on to that football? And perhaps the heat of the day, the perspiration, making it a bit more difficult, but it certainly has been an inordinate giveaway game in that regard.
Well, I think fatigue certainly has something to do with it, Dick. As you get tighter, you tend to make mistakes, and we've seen rather more by far, especially from the Jets. They have minimized their errors in the past season or 2.
2nd and 7, final seconds of the 3rd quarter. Seattle just buying some ground, driving out across the 10-yard line. 7-6 seconds. Apparently that will be the last play of the third period. It has been an afternoon of frustration for Joe Walton and the New York Jets. They've moved the ball well and yet have only one field goal to show for their work. It's 10-3 Seattle after 3. We'll be back. This game brought to you by Chrysler Plymouth, cars engineered for luxury, quality, and value. By Southern Pacific, 41,000 people working in 18 industries all across America. And by AT&T, expanding your ability to communicate through the most powerful communication network in the world. We begin the fourth quarter at Shea Stadium in New York. 10-3, the Seattle Seahawks lead, and they have the ball 3rd and 5 at their own 10-yard line. Jim Zorn with Largent in motion. Looking for Largent, and he's open to the 30. A flag is down as Largent goes out of bounds at the 33-yard line. Well, it was a nice toss by Zorn as he just rainbowed the ball over the linebacker. 23 yards if it counts. And it won't. Holding Seattle.
Gary Bennett has gone in place of Marty Lyons, and Bennett just blew by his man, center Bush, on that play. And of course, Bush retaliated with a little arm lock of his own, and a very pretty play. A nice pass and a nice catch, nullified by the penalty.
Largent, who has that tremendous capacity to always seem to be open.
59.
Blair Bush, the center, indeed guilty of the tackle of Bennett as he went around him. So Zorn and the Seahawks denied the first down and improved field position. Now they're back at their own 6-yard line.
One of the comments we made earlier about depth being important in this game. Marty Lyons to the sideline, replaced by Barry Bennett, who comes in and makes a tremendous play, a big play at this point in the game. On the other hand, Seattle just does not have that kind of depth, Dick.
3rd and 9 at the 6. Zorn from his end zone. Throwing to Dornick. Out of bounds, shy of the first down. At the 14 is Ron Crosby, one of the 3 linebackers from Penn State in a Jets uniform. Made the solid hit short of the first down sticks.
Decision for Knox here, as they will put the ball down, but not really much of a choice. That close to your own end zone, you're not about to go for it on 4th down, and you have the feeling, Dick, that the Hawks are just digging in with their fingernails. They're hanging on the edge. Their talents. They're not about to give it up. They're not about to give it up, but they have been dangerously close to the precipice, and the Jets keep chipping. Let's see what they can do here.
10 men on the line of scrimmage. And West with a short kick and a fair catch by Harmon at the Seattle 47. So excellent field position for the New York Jets, but they have not scored a touchdown today. Only a field goal, and Curt Warner's score for the Seahawks is the difference. Colts. Chuck Knox, new uniforms, using that Seahawk logo on the sleeves as well as on the helmet. Short punt, 33 yards, so the Jets take over at the Seahawk 47, trailing by a touchdown. McNeil looks like he wants to throw. 45. And down at the 39 of Seattle, a gain of about 8. Michael Jackson made the tackle, and McNeil wisely, his receiver covered, tucked it away.
And it looked like he had a chance to use Richard Todd as a blocker here. McNeil tipping this all away. I think that's one of the reasons that it wasn't open. He made it apparent early, but look at this, just tucks it away and comes down. Now Todd will be just to his left-hand side there. Couldn't get over to use him. You saw him. He wanted to get over and use Todd as a blocker, and Richard would have thrown the block too.
McNeil with 120 last week at San Diego, 139, another big day this afternoon. But his team trails 10-3. Freeman McNeil again to the 38-yard line. He'll be short of the first down by about a yard. Tuiasosopo and Jackson on the tackle. It'll be 3rd and 1. There's the logo on the arm and again on the helmet. I think one of the more attractive
Dick, it's one of the things that coaches do when they make a change and when they have a chance to start a new program. They change uniforms, a lot of them do anyway, because they want to look different. They want the players to feel differently about themselves. And a new uniform, a new look, sometimes coupled with a new coaching staff and some changes in the surroundings, are enough to get the players feeling differently about themselves.
That defense, much maligned, trying to give a new look as they've held the Jets to only 3 Todd in a run situation and right through the hands of the normally reliable Scott Durking, and the veteran from Purdue could not be unhappier. Now it's 4th and 1, and Walton's going to go for it with Freeman McNeil.
Walton expressing the confidence he has in that big offensive line and in his offensive unit. He says, good for us last year. He can't believe that ball got away from Scott Durking, and well, frankly, neither can we. It was as easy a pass as Durking will see in just about any game he plays in.
They've been so close. Walker had a touchdown knocked away by Simpson at the end of the half. Walker had another, but couldn't get both feet in. They didn't score a touchdown when they fumbled on the next play. Now 4th and 1. Freeman McNeil. He's going to be close, but Seattle thinks they stopped him short. It was Simpson from the corner that slowed down the play, and I believe Gregory Johnson, another defensive back, who came in to make the hit.
All in the mark, and Simpson limping as he comes off the field. That's all in the spot by the official. Where are they going to put it down? And I believe he went down short. You can see the concern on the sideline. Even though they're bringing it out, I think Joe Walton realizes that ball is going to come up short of the first down.
13 minutes left in the game, and Seattle has stopped the Jets again. And that expression says it all. There are a lot of folks shaking their heads here at Shea Stadium.
You look at the opposite sideline, you feel a tremendous sigh of relief as the Seattle Seahawks have stopped the Jets and have a chance to take the football and move down on their own.
It remains 10-3 for the men from the Great Northwest. Again.
Believe me, with this as hot as it's been today, I'm glad I brought this short sleeve shirt, Dick, and it's hot on the field, but it is cooler now, and that's a good note for the Seattle Seahawks because they're playing with a relatively thin front line, and they need all the energy they can to survive this fourth quarter.
10-3, Seattle leads. Zorn. Oh, what a catch. What a play by Steve Largent. He is just like going to the ballet to watch those feet of his and his tremendous control, hand ability to receive the ball. Hard to use the word pretty, but boy, he is lovely to watch.
He certainly is. He came out and did some work for us in the Bob Hope special, dressed up in a leotard outfit, and he said he's been taking flack ever since then. He did look pretty that night.
He could have been wearing a tutu. 2nd down and 2 at the 46 of Seattle. This is Dornick. Twisted down, but not until he picked up what appears to be a first down at the 48-yard line. Seattle holding on to a 10-3 lead. Now to NFL 83.
Thank you, Dick.
And they are short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and inches. It appeared that when Joe Walton's Jets stopped Seattle 4th and goal at the 1, that might turn the game around. The Jets did move, fumbled the ball away inside the Seattle 5. They were stopped again on 4th and 1 themselves. And Joe Walton looking for some magic on that offensive board of his. And first must have his defense stop the Seahawks. And here's a 3rd and about a half yard from the Seattle 47.
Seahawks as if they have a little guardian angel out there protecting them today. When they've been in trouble, they've come up with a big play. Let's see if they can do it again here.
Zorn on the sneak, and it appeared that he surged forward for enough yardage. Yes, first down, Seahawks.
Dick, apparent that in talking to the Jets, none of them believe in this business about a jinx. I wonder if this game continues on course, if they might change their minds.
Isn't that incredible? Since the Seahawks came into the league and invariably underdogs to the Jets, they are 6-0 against New York, and they lead by a touchdown with 11:15 left in this game this afternoon. Like hitters that hit certain teams, doesn't matter who's pitching, or a pitcher that can get another club out just by the color of the uniform. Offside Gastineau. Dornick gets a couple of yards to the Jet 49, but Seattle undoubtedly will take the 5 yards, and the penalty gives us time to remind you of this telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Jets and the National Football League is prohibited. It'll be 1st and 5 Seattle.
Offside, number 99, defense, down.
Jim Zorn using that long count, a barking signal. And this is a dangerous time in the game for the Jets because defensive players trying to make the big play sometimes get themselves out of position, and there's a tendency often to give up a big play and possibly a touchdown.
Well, even a 3 now would make things difficult on the Jets. They're already facing a 7-point deficit. Dornick stacked up after a gain of about a yard. It'll be 2nd and 4, and the clock continues to run. 10:45 left. Going back to your passing statistics, Merlin, Jets have thrown the ball 20 times. The Seahawks 11.
Well, they have not had to throw the football, and they've been able to run the ball, but things are interesting in there. I tell you, I'm amazed that the Hawks have been able to do it in this second half without Warner. Warner pulled a groin and apparently wasn't able to go full speed, and they kept him out of there, and they're getting the job done without it.
Well, they put him in, and then he fumbled, so apparently Chuck Knox said, you might as well stay right where you are. Rest for next week. Dornick then takes over the burden, and look at him plow forward, and a 1st down near the Jets' 40-yard line. Kenny Neal, number 77, shaken up for New York. And Reggie McKenzie, that veteran left guard, as you take a look at Neal, we'll check his injury. Acquired from Buffalo by Chuck Knox. McKenzie opening that last hole, and he's been the new leader of the Seattle club, veteran of 12 seasons.
In fact, they said that they felt that one of the real negatives they had going into that loss last week was that McKenzie was out with a sore shoulder, not able to show that leadership on the field.
1st down at the Jets' 40. Zorn looking for Largent, and nicely covered by Bobby Jackson. We've seen him 2 weeks in a row, Merlin, and Jackson has played that corner as well as any man at that position can play.
Now you add to that the fact that he's playing with a broken finger, and it's even more impressive. Look at him read that double move. That's a little out and go. He was in no way biting for that. And again, entitled to his position. Now, there was a time in the last couple of years that you might have gotten a flag on that play. But clearly, Jackson was playing the football, and now that's that kind of incidental bumping, as long as it's not deemed to be aggressively overplaying the position by the defender, is not called by the officials.
2nd and 10 from the 40. Zorn, who is a good runner, now throwing long for Largent, and there's Jackson there to get enough of the ball to knock it away. Jackson's cousin is Alfred Jenkins. Now flag is down back at the line of scrimmage as Largent comes back. Just to finish our thought, Alfred Jenkins, of course, the Atlanta Falcons. It's against the Jets. He caught a pass today. That's 100 games in a row for cousin Jenkins with the Falcons, who lost in overtime to the Giants.
Off stop, number 73, defense, still 2nd down.
Joe Klecko. And you see more and more, Merlin, that Jet sideline sneaking a peek at the clock. They're starting to worry about the time now, although there seems to be plenty left. But it eats away 9 minutes and 17 seconds, and it seems to gallop when you're behind. And of course, Seattle ever closer to a field goal that would really make things tough on the favorite New Yorkers. Dornick again. Oh, is he hit? Good thing he had both hands around the football, because Crosby and Woodring, 2 backup linebackers, were there shoulder to shoulder to really apply the leather. Norm Johnson, who missed from long range in this game, but connected on a 40-yarder. His 53-yard try was wide right.
He has enough leg. That's not a problem for him. See the concern, a growing concern, as you said. That clock is ticking down, Dick. Jets have got to do something here. Hawks continue to execute on their game plan.
3rd and 4. To Largent, and a 1st down at the 23-yard line. And Jackson made the tackle, but Zorn able to scramble out of the pocket, buy himself some time. And when you leave Largent that much time to work a way open, somehow he'll give that quarterback an open receiver.
Jets first 2 games really unable to get the kind of pressure on the quarterback key situations they would like to have. Got a lot of pressures last week against Fouts, and that was important. But in this ball game, they've been so busy and so occupied playing the running game that they have not been able to pressure Zorn. He's not thrown that many passes, but he has had time to throw.
Steve Largent in his 100th start as a Seahawk. That's now 78 games in a row that he's caught at least one pass. And Curt Warner's back in, and he has the ball. And Warner almost had a touchdown. That was the last man in his way. Ken Schroy, 48, the safety of the Jets.
I tell you, things change. The speed of things changes when Warner goes in there. Watch him here, starting to the outside and the opening inside. Good block in there. Couldn't tell who that was. Fine block by one of the linemen inside. Robert Pratt perhaps coming across from his guard position. Excellent job in there. Warner getting down, going to be second, about 2.5, 3 yards to go, Dick.
Ball on the 17-yard line. Warner with 118 yards. Another long drive for Seattle. This is the 11th play. Warner, oh, he is quick across the 15 to the 13, and that'll be another Seattle first down. That buys Chuck Knox's club 4 more downs, and the clock continues to run. 7 minutes and 30 seconds exactly, the midpoint of this final quarter. Or that Warner now has 215 yards in his first 2 games as a pro.
We talked about the excitement in Seattle for that young man. They certainly have not been let down in any way. One of the Jets, Kenny Neal, down again, perhaps suffering from cramps. You saw him on the sideline a few moments ago.
New York, McNeese State, number 94, has replaced him. Seattle with the lead, and 7 minutes and 14 seconds left. The Seahawks have a first down at the Jets 13. Curt Warner to the 15-yard line. John Woodring made the tackle. Make that the 10-yard line. A gain of about 3. Woodring's sister Sue, a star lacrosse player at Brown University. His dad, the dean of the College of Engineering at Drexel University. Interesting comparison. We talked about the 2 outstanding runners. McNeil in his 3rd year, the NFL leading rusher last season. Warner, the brilliant rookie, and they've been almost on pace all day long, both with excellent afternoons. McNeil has fumbled twice, and so has Warner. They're running behind McKenzie and Essink on that left side. And they're near the 6-yard line before Woodring can make another tackle. And the clock, as you can see, down to the 6-minute mark. Let's run down some scores for you. Seattle threatens to add to their lead. Denver, Baltimore tied at 3 in the last quarter. The Raiders apparently are going to make it 2-0 off the top of the year. They lead at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Miami apparently will win its first 2. Handsome lead over New England. And the Rams have rallied from behind and have a 1-point lead against New Orleans at Anaheim Stadium. 3rd and 2. Dornick. He's got a first down, and he may be in the end zone. He's close.
Nick, the Seahawks have put Ed Bailey, number 65, in that left guard position. Apparently Reggie McKenzie with some problem that's kept him on the sideline momentarily. Chance for you to look at the play. You see Essink, number 64, right there driving on his man, Lance Mell, 56. Right down the pits. Marty Lyon back into the game, 93. He's been hurt. You know he's got ankle problems. A little bit of room on the inside. Ken Schroy up to put the stops, but not till they're down, knocking on the goal line. First down and 4 shots from inside the 1-yard line.
Well, Dornick wants to be a doctor, trying to write a proper prescription. A touchdown here for Seattle will really make it rough, and Zorn trying to climb over the pile, but no signal yet.
Some of the Seahawk players putting their hands up, but none of the officials. We got to look for the striped uniforms there to get 2 hands in the air before things are going to count.
In a way, Joe Walton, as he looks back, says if you're going to score, hurry up and do it, because in the meantime the clock continues to run, although stopped here by the officials while they dig into that pile.
The surge stopped inside. Earlier we showed you some of the line action and how the Seahawk offensive line was really knocking that Jets defensive line off the ball. It did not happen on that play. Virtually no gain. 2nd and goal.
This is the 15th play of this drive. And Zorn, 4:31 left in the game, and he is wisely letting that clock just run down, or apparently there was a problem with the clock.
Blair Bush has asked the official to come in and take the dirt off the ball in that wet area. They'd wet down the area there, the center of the field. Actually, I guess that's where the first base, no, that's where the home plate is for baseball, Dick. And what do I know about baseball anyway? But anyway, that area is a little damp, and the ball apparently had some dirt on it. Blair Bush wisely said, let's get that off of there. We can't afford a fumble down here.
Here's that the ball is on the goal line already. The way they've marked it, I don't know if Zorn's going to ask that.
Well, the referee now asking to have that clock moved back, as he should, because, well, I'm sure that's what's going on here, and the officials have now deemed that they're ready to go. Let's see if the Seahawks and the Jets are ready to go.
Darnick and Warner behind Zorn. Zorn, he stopped again. Flag is down, which will stop the clock with 4 minutes 19 seconds left. Now remember, the Jets have mustered 1 goal line stand in this game. There's the offside.
You see the Jets again. Zorn able to use that exaggerated cadence to draw the defenders offside, but you're only giving up fractions of inches down there when you're that close. And
Offside, left side of the defensive line. Still 2nd down.
Seattle, Merlin, rushing the ball against the Jets for 206 yards in this game, looking for the 207th and perhaps an insurmountable lead.
Now this may well be the most important yard they have gained all afternoon, Dick.
Or inch. Can't be any closer. Warner. And he is stopped. Stan Blanca, Kenny Neal back in. Let's check that muddied uniform. That may have been, and was Dornick, not Warner, who carried. So it's 3rd and goal.
There goes Warner into the game, but let's look at that valiant effort by the Jets defense, who simply fought their way in there. They would not allow any penetration. There are at least half a dozen of those green shirts in there. Mike Gastineau's on the ground, number 99.
And we have a timeout, 10-3 Seattle. At the head linesman's position, or line judges. 3rd and goal. Well, we can all call that one from Seattle to Shea Stadium. It's a touchdown for Curt Warner, and the Seattle Seahawks build their lead to 16-3. Warner's 2nd touchdown of the afternoon, and the crowd at Shea, many head for the exits.
A little bit early, I think, Dick, to make their way out of this game, but what a big play by Curt Warner as he just simply leaps up and over the top of his offensive line and the defensive line of the Jets, lands in the end zone and is helped to the sideline. Even when he's hurt, he's tough, I'll tell you.
Here's the try for point by Norm Johnson. And the New York Jets, manufacturers of 41 points last week in their win at San Diego, have scored but 3 this afternoon, and it's 17-3. The Seahawks lead. Other games and some late quarter drama. Let's go to NFL 83.
All right, Dick.
Jets have 3 minutes and 40 seconds and all 3 timeouts to try to score twice and tie. Next Sunday, 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time, NFL 83 kicks it off. The Jets will go up to New England. Kansas City will play Washington. Kansas City hosts San Diego tomorrow night. Pittsburgh, a winner at Green Bay today, will play Houston. Other games, Baltimore and Buffalo, and the one late game starting at 3:30, San Diego visits Seattle. Todd has to throw. And he has his man at the Seattle 47-yard line, Derek Gaffney. Gaffney, who played at Florida in the shadow of Wes Chandler, a man he helped recruit for the Gators.
They're already in their 2-minute offense. They're not even going to take a timeout here.
Todd, incomplete. That'll stop the clock. Gregory Johnson breaking it up.
This has to be particularly difficult for the Seattle defense. Dick, we talked about the jinx that the Seattle Seahawks have on the Jets. How many teams do you think have never beaten them? Would you look at that list?
It's hard to believe that
the Jets have never beaten the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the San Francisco 49ers, Washington, and of course Seattle.
I think
Seahawks.
they're 3-0-3 against all the other teams.
Yes.
0-6 against Seattle, and about to be 0-7.
About to be 0-7, but that was a real shocker to me.
That's Walker. Touchdown! Nope. Yes, it is a touchdown. He had it long enough. Both feet were down before the ball was knocked away, and Todd to Walker. Yards.
Dick, I think that might bring a few of those folks back in from the parking lot. Some had already made their way outside, but a big bomb. Richard Todd throwing deep, beats Dave Brown again, and there were 2 feet on the ground before the ball was stripped away. Watch it now. 1, 2, then the ball is loose. Boy, he didn't have much of a margin for error there.
I guess the Jets fans would say, hey, we had one of those coming. Pat Leahy, barely hooks that one around the upright successfully, and it's 17-10. Todd to Walker, his favorite receiver. He hit him 8 times last week against San Diego once for a touchdown, and now with all timeouts left, the Seahawks are hardly in the rocking chair because they have to move the football and maintain control, or the Jets will get it back with plenty of time and plenty of timeouts.
Chuck Knox with some interesting choices to make. Jim Zorn there to ask for the first play. You might ask, would they want an onside kick here? I don't believe they would, Dick. I think they'll kick it away deep, count on their defense to stop the Seattle Seahawks, and then hope that their offense can get it into the end zone to take them into overtime.
Look at the contrast in scoring drives. It took the Jets 44 seconds to score after Seattle marched over 9 minutes to get their touchdown. It's 17-10 Seattle.
The Seahawks have their onside kickoff return team on the field, not taking any risks. One of the players, Dave Brown, was not out there. They whistled him off the bench. Of course, he was the man that was beaten on that touchdown shot to Wesley Walker.
9 men within the first 5 yards for Seattle. Only 2 men are back. And Leahy roots it deep into the end zone to McAllister. And wisely, Lane comes back to say, stay right there. We'll take it at the 20-yard line. And now you can figure the Jets fans are going to try to help out that defense. Jim Zorn trying to protect the lead. Zorn, of the 28 starting quarterbacks in the NFL last week, the only free agent out of Cal Poly Pomona. First chance given by Dallas back in '75, then signed by Seattle in '76. Was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year, as voted by the Players Association as a rookie.
This Jet crowd chanting defense, 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 and the pressure squarely on the shoulders of this New York Jet defense and the Seattle Seahawks offense. We'll know shortly which is going to win this battle.
Dan Dornick is the only running back behind Zorn. Dornick looking around as if he expects someone to be with him. He doesn't understand the play call. It's only him, and he finds a hole and gets a couple of yards. That has to make a coach just have his heart up in his throat when your only running back is looking around as if to say it. From what I think the call is, somebody else should be getting the ball.
I believe that what happened was that Zorn made an audible call on the line and probably called a play that requires 2 backs in the backfield. Dornick, if that being the case, and we can only try and guess what's happening down there from here, but timeout on the field.
Jets use one of their timeouts to stop the clock at 2:58. Of course, they'll be aided by the 2-minute warning as well. And now that offense, figuring they'll get the ball one more time, has to get itself organized.
One of the costly things that happened to the Jets, one of many problems that they had in the first half, was that they gave up an early timeout, a timeout they desperately needed just before the half. They now have taken their first of 3 timeouts. We'll have time to stop the clock on 2 other occasions.
Well, this game, 17-10 Seattle. After our coverage from Shea Stadium, stay tuned to NBC. The Powers of Matthew Starr, followed at 8 by Knight Rider. Then at 9, the Sunday night movie, Beulah Land, all tonight here on NBC. And we might have a little bonus quarter for you, the way this game is starting to develop, if the Jets can stop Seattle and score. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
We certainly have to admire the tremendous tenacity and the courage of the Seattle Seahawks. They have really put themselves to work today. Turned in a great performance, Dick.
2nd and 8. Dornick. A couple more, maybe 3, rolling out to the 25, and the Jets spend their 2nd timeout, stopping the clock with 2:52 left.
You might wonder why the timeouts are being called now as opposed to waiting. Their philosophy, they can stop the clock easier with their offense than they can with their defense. They're going to take their timeouts now.
You want to know the finals today? Here they are. The Steelers with a big win at Green Bay, 25-21. Buffalo upset at Cincinnati. Bills 10, Bengals 6. Final Dallas 2-0, 34-17 at St. Louis. The Giants win on the road in overtime, 16-13 at Atlanta. Washington's first win, 23-13 at Philadelphia. Road teams doing well today. Cleveland upset Detroit at Pontiac, 31-26. Tampa Bay a loser. The Bears win 17-10. Their first win of the year. Baltimore leads 10-3 in the 4th quarter of their game with Denver in Baltimore. It's 20-6 the Raiders over Houston in the 4th quarter in Los Angeles. In Miami, 34-24. The Dolphins lead late against New England. And finally, Los Angeles trailing New Orleans 27-21 at Anaheim Stadium in the 4th quarter.
Dick, an interesting call here for the Seattle Seahawks. Knox has been reluctant to throw all day. He's got a 3rd and 6. I'm sure he's getting a pass play down from upstairs from Kenny Myers. Let's see if he has changed it to a run play down on the field.
Out of the shotgun. Could be the play of the game. Wide open is Dornick, and a first down at the 35-yard line. You saw Dornick. He was happy he caught it, but unhappy that he couldn't stay in bounds. His momentum took him out of bounds, and the bright young man, studying to be a medical doctor, realized it would have been even better if he could have kept the clock running. But even at that, that puts the Jets defense in the hole again. They've used 2 timeouts. Now 2:46 left. And it's a first down for Seattle at their own 35. Dick Enberg, Merlin Olsen, Shea Stadium in New York. The Seattle Seahawks, they've never lost to the Jets. 6 out of 6 since they joined the National Football League. Trying to pull another upset today. They lead 17-10. First down at their own 35. Trying to run out the clock. Fumble! And who has it? The Jets. Woodring. He forced one fumble today and recovers another. And the Jets with 2:41 left couldn't have had it happen any better. It's been a game of fumbles, and now it's the Jets' turn to try to convert.
And just at a time when it appeared that the Seattle Seahawks had passed the test, that they were going to be able to get away, that ball driven out of the arms of the ball carrier, scooped up by John Woodring, 57, and he's made a couple of very big plays today, Dick.
And he forced the fumble too, Merlin.
Yes,
knocked the ball away. It was loose. He had the presence to roll over and find it. Chuck Knox looking for his first win as Seattle's new head coach. He had a 17-3 lead with 4 minutes to go. Todd looking for something big, goes underneath, and the Seattle Seahawks have intercepted. Number 53, Keith Butler. How do you do? It's time for Seattle to celebrate.
Penalty flags were down on the field.
A flag down, and I think it's against the Jets. In dismay, Todd. And it's Seattle's ball. The penalty denied. It was against the Jets. The Seahawks, of course, will take the ball. Unbelievable.
And just as it would appear that the Jets were getting their break, their opportunity to pour this game into overtime, Chuck Knox said he didn't want it to be a game of big plays. It sure has been, Dick.
The Jets had the ball for exactly 7 seconds.
Personal foul, 72, offense, jammed to the face, 15 yards after the interception, first down.
Chris Ward, 72.
Chris Ward knocking the helmet right off of Michael Jackson, 55. You'll see that right there, Jackson's helmet gone. Of course, the defender stepping in and fighting for the ball right there and just absolutely out-muscling the receiver.
McNeil actually seemed to have the ball first, didn't he?
McNeil had it in his hands momentarily, but Keith Butler just reached in and with superior strength was able to take it away from him.
So the Jets, with the miracle they were looking for, down 17-3. They struck quickly on a 48-yard bomb. Todd to Walker to make it 17-10. Then they got the fumble they were looking for, but cough it up on the next play on the interception.
Curt Warner's gone back in, Dick.
And that's Warner. He has fumbled twice today. They tackle the ball as they stop Warner at the 46. The clock running, 2:27 left.
There's still some time left in this game. It seems like this last 4 or 5 minutes has lasted forever.
Turnovers a key. And for those of you who were not with us earlier, back in the first quarter, and we may have time to show you that, a quick whistle denied the Jets a fumble touchdown that would have had it tied now.
Well, let's look again at that interception by Richard Todd, thrown off the back foot. It hung in the air a little too long. You saw McNeil get his hands on the football, but Butler bumped into McNeil, drove in hard, and then just wrestled the football out of his hands.
So Richard Todd hoping he might get another chance, but what do you do? Actually, the ball was there, and Butler just made the outstanding defensive steal. And that's the last Jets timeout. With 2:25 left, they'll get a timeout at the 2-minute warning.
Decisions being made now, and obviously the plays you want to run when you're trying to run out the clock are running plays. You don't want anything that takes you out of bounds or that causes that ball to get to the sideline. Run the ball, run it on a sweep, but stay in bounds. Whatever you can do now to eat that clock, you'll see Chuck Knox doing.
The Jets have turned the ball over 6 times today, 4 on fumbles, and Seattle has lost it 3 times. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
You're watching KING TV, Channel 5, Seattle.
Dick Enberg with Merlin Olsen at Chase Stadium in New York. The game began on a crazy play with a fumble of a punt after a punt on a return by Seattle, picked up by the Jets for a touchdown, but a quick whistle called it back when it appeared the Jets had a score. And the ball's been bouncing around ever since. Warner corralled, stayed in bounds. Woodring made the tackle. Now the clock can run to the 2-minute warning, and Seattle, of course, will let it do just that. And when we resume play, 2 minutes will be left. It'll be 3rd down and around 7 for Seattle. The Seahawks trying to make it 7 out of 7 against the Jets in their young history.
Dick, if the Jets can hold them from getting a first down, they will get their hands on the football with some time left.
And now at the 2-minute warning, time to take a break for another one of those fantastic finishes.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes. 1981, 35 seconds left. Buffalo trails New England by 4. Roland Hooks makes a sensational catch at the 36. Buffalo's got a shot. Joe Ferguson, he's a high-arching Big Ben special into the end zone. Frank Lewis leaps and tips the game winner to Hooks. With only 5 seconds left, the Bills win 20-17.
A hot 95 to 100 degree day in New York, one of the warmest days for this time of the year ever. In fact, one of the weathermen said the only other place on the world map as hot as this area was Saudi Arabia. It's been desert-type weather.
Now, these Seattle Seahawks don't mind. They have stood up well under the heat, much better than expected, and have made their coach Chuck Knox extremely proud of them today.
3rd down and 7 for Seattle. The Jets can't stop the clock. There's 2 minutes to go. Stuck in a couple of finals. The Raiders go to 2-0 as they defeat the Houston Oilers 20-6. John Cricky and Jim Turner called that game for NBC out in the Los Angeles Coliseum. And another final. Miami 34, New England 24 down at the Orange Bowl. So Miami is 2-0. 3 teams unbeaten: Dallas, Raiders, and Miami. And in Miami, Charlie Jones and Bob Greasy called another win, Miami over New England. Here, Wesley Walker, who is instant lightning touchdown maker, and he's hoping he gets a chance to use that tremendous speed of his on one more long pattern, but it's up to the defense now.
Joe Gardy, I'm told, I'm sure, has told his troops to watch out for the pass, but I would expect that Knox would try and run. I don't think he wants to risk an interception here.
Down, and that's a break for the Jets because it stops the clock. Woodring makes the hit at the 50-yard line where it'll be 4th down and 6, and that's a big break for the New York Jets. The penalty against
It'll be against
Seattle.
August. It'll be against August on Gastineau, I believe, Dick.
Holding number 30.
So that stops the clock and also brings up 4th down because the Jets, of course, declined the penalty. So they're going to get the ball with about 1:45 seconds left. No timeouts remaining.
Now let's ask the question. If you were Coach Walton on the other sideline, would you go after this kick?
No.
Special teams coach Pasquale over there probably, I'm sure, is saying, you see him, boy, he's leading the cheers over there. There are 10 men up.
Well, you're risking the chance of running into that kicker.
You obviously don't want that. Let's see what they do, Dick. All 10 are up. They're coming.
He runs into his own man, does West. It's a great kick by Jeff West. Is it down? No, it's knocked into the end zone. Touchback for the Jets at the 20. So the clock is stopped. Here's the situation. 1:44 left. The Jets need a touchdown to tie. NFL 83.
And Dick, of course, I don't have to tell you that this may turn out to be the play of the game after all. The early punt that came down to Gregory Johnson of Seattle. Here he fumbles, but a quick whistle blew the play dead. Johnny Lynn picked it up and scored. It was ruled no touchdown. Back to you, Dick.
All right, Len, that happened in the first 2 minutes of the game. The Jets fans obviously were upset. It did appear that that was a mighty quick whistle. Now they'll have to earn it from 80 yards away. No timeouts left for Todd. He has to throw. He gets some big yardage from Walker. Walker gets out of bounds at the 42-yard line. Oh, big play, 23 yards, and stopping the clock with 1:37 left.
Walker doing a good job. Todd running to get extra time, puts this one on target. Wesley started up inside, thought better of it, and still had the presence to get the ball out of bounds. That ball loose again, Dick. I'm sure that Joe Walton has seen that ball in the air and on the ground way too many times today.
Looked like a pinball game at times. Walker to the right. Todd from his own 42. Incomplete. Overshooting Jerome Barkham down at the 45-yard line. 1 minute 33 seconds left for Todd. It's been a long final 5 minutes of this game. Seattle scored with less than 5 minutes to go to lead 17-3. The Jets came right back to score quickly on a bomb from Todd to Walker. Seems like everyone's had lots of chances, and now we have a minute and a half left, and Joe Walton is still in the game.
One of the strengths of this Seattle defense is its ability to play nickel defense. In fact, they play a six-back defense. That's what they've got on the field now, and it's tough to get the long yardage against 6 defensive backs.
Their only linebacker is Eugene Williams, number 54. Todd, good protection, goes down the middle for Gaffney. He's got it. at the 22-yard line. A juggling catch by Derek Gaffney, and the Jets are in business. 35 yards on the play. Clock continues to run, but Todd wants to make sure there's no mistake. Audibilizing his call.
Making sure that everybody can hear it.
Intercepted. Seattle has done it again. Their only linebacker, Eugene Williams, off the hands of Durking to Williams. And how the Seahawks have clawed and clawed for this win. That's their 7th turnover today.
You talk about building character. The Seahawks have done that and have done it in a big way today. Their defense time after time has been able to come up with the big plays against the Jets. And it seems like every time they're put to the test, even though they look like it's going to go against them, they bounce back and make the play. And I'm sad that that will be recorded as an interception against Todd. In reality, he put the ball on target, bounced off the hands of Durking. Watch it here. He throws it on target, maybe a little hard. The ball hits in Durking's hands, and Durking, in order to try and get his hands on it again, stopped the ball, hung it up. It was at that moment that Eugene Williams knifed in front of him and took it away from him.
Well, that's where you must think you're jinxed. You go up, if you hadn't touched the ball, it's incomplete. You try to make the great play, and you actually knock it right into the hands of Eugene Williams, who has his first ever NFL interception. The Seattle Seahawks, boy, Chuck Knox has had some tough games to win, but he's going to go back wondering how in the world, how long did that clock run in that 4th quarter? It must seem like forever. And for Joe Walton, how many chances? And he's made the concession. The head gear is off. The communications upstairs. He's conceded the win in that picture. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer NBC Football Ted Nathanson. Producer today was Larry Cirillo. Director was Andy Rosenberg. Technical director was Bill Kelly, and associate director Mike Eilbaum. They'll just sit on it. The clock running. Final seconds. Our thanks to Dan Regan, Peter Kreutzer, Jim McLaughlin, Ron Zipkowski, our help in the booth. Joe Walton is now 1-1. Chuck Knox is 1-1. Final score: Seattle 17, the New York Jets 10. Just as you said, Merlin Olsen, the New York Jets had to throw more, and the team that threw more lost the game. Seattle dominated on the ground, over 200 yards. Curt Warner, the rookie, was the star as Seattle goes home with a win. The final: Seattle 17, New York 10. So long from Shea.
New York Jets quarterback Richard Todd with a desperation pass in the closing minutes of play, intercepted by Eugene Williams, preserving a Seahawk victory 17-10.
This is Seahawks Sunday post-game wrap-up with Tony Ventrella and Steve Meyer. Brought to you by your Puget Sound Pontiac dealers with their $5 million selection. Now's the time to find out how much your Puget Sound Pontiac dealer can save you on a new Pontiac. See your Puget Sound Pontiac dealer today. And by Pacific Coca-Cola Bottling Company. Try new Diet Coke just for the taste of it. And now live from FX McCrory's in Pioneer Square, here's Tony Ventrella and Steve Meyer.
Well, you know, it never seems to fail. The New York Jets simply cannot beat the Seattle Seahawks. 7, count them, 7 times in a row, Steve. The Seahawks have beaten the Jets. They did it in New York today at Shea Stadium in temperatures of 100 degrees, and they did it on the ground mostly.
That's right. It seems like the Seahawks have the Jets' number, and it seems like the matchups are always in the favor of the Seahawks. And, you know, we watched the film versus the Jets, and we've always been able to match up real well with them, especially in the interior, in the line.
Let's go right to the videotape highlights and take a look at first half action from this victory today. 4th and 5, the punt by the Jets. You'll see Gregory Johnson fumble the football. The officials says forward motion was stopped. It's a good thing because Lyon picked up the ball for a touchdown and went in. The touchdown was disallowed at that point, and the Jet fans were already getting unhappy, and they boo a lot when they're unhappy in New York. Now we're going to see 3rd and 3. Todd and McNeil. It's good for 10 yards and the first down. Richard Todd and McNeil is one of the toughest combinations in the NFL.
That's right. This just shows you the defensive effort that the defense gave all day long. Opportunity after opportunity. The Seahawks defense came up with it throughout the game.
That, of course, the John Harris run back of a fumble by McNeil. A lot of fumbles in this game. 2nd and 10 to the 49. Todd to McNeil. McNeil fumbles, and it is forced by Manu Tuiasosopo. As you see, also Ken Easley
making the play there, reaching in and grabbing the ball again. John Harris thought he was going to outrun Richard Todd here, but he just doesn't.
So we see it again. John Harris hurt a little bit later in the game. McNeil now had 140 yards, and there's the one forced by Manu, the fumble recovery. And I'll tell you, slippery hands on both teams today. We see it again.
Just one great defensive play after another all day from the Seahawks, and they sure made them count today.
2nd down 11 for the Jets on the 16. It's Todd to Wesley Walker. Out of bounds, the ball intercepted by Dave Brown on a tremendous play.
Watch Dave here. He turns and runs with the receiver, and then he turns back at the very last second to get the interception. It's a nice interception. The ball was underthrown, but it was still a nice interception.
So the first quarter ends in a scoreless tie. 1st and goal, and Curt Warner, 7 yards on the draw. 7-0 Seahawks. Warner rushing for over 130 yards
Here's
today.
What we're talking about. Watch this offensive line just blow the Jets out. And look at that hole. You could drive a truck through that hole. And I'm sure they're going to get a lot of praise come tomorrow from the offensive coaches.
So 7-0, the Seahawks in the lead after the Warner touchdown. We'll be back with more highlights from this Jets loss today and Seahawk victory in just a minute. Halftime lead at a very hot Shea Stadium in New York, and son of a gun, they ended up increasing that lead and holding on to win if you've tuned in late. Let's go right to third quarter highlights in the game. 1st and 10 to the 20. Zorn hands it off to Warner. A 15-yard burst up the middle. Curt was hot today in more ways than one.
He sure was. This is something you can't coach. This is pure talent right here. And the Seahawks got themselves a running back. You can be assured of that.
As I mentioned, unofficially over 130 yards today for Curt Warner. At that point, he had 94. 3rd and 11 at the 34. Zorn out of the shotgun will find Harold Jackson, the veteran from L.A., 37 years old, and 21 yards on that fine play.
Right in the zone defense. Jim saw it was a zone with the motion and just picked the seam there, and Harold's wide open on the play. Beautiful blocking. Well executed play.
As the drive continues, 1st and 10 to the 35. Warner goes left, picks up 8. Lions on the tackle, and Curt is injured on this play. A little dink on the head. Of course, the heat didn't help either. Might have had the wind knocked out of him, but it was not serious. He did come back and play quite a bit as we take another look.
I'm sure glad he came back too. This is something we do not want to see this year, is Curt Warner go down with an injury. They can ill afford to have him go out with an injury.
Hard-hitting game all day long at Shea Stadium. 1st and goal on the 9. Dornick up the middle, picks up 2. He came in today in place of Colin
awesome
Bryant.
Offensive blocking. Look at that explosion by the offensive line. Every one of those offensive linemen are blowing their defensive guy back at least 3 yards. And this happened throughout the game.
Now Theotis tried to score here, stopped obviously by a pretty determined.
This play was designed to go between the guard and the tackle, and for some reason Theotis went outside a little bit outside, so that was the reason that the play did not work.
Now the Jets got the ball back after a punt, but not for long. Crutchfield, the second-year man, fumbles, and that hurt the Jets today. All kinds of fumbles.
It did. There's a lot of plays that changed momentum of the game. It was hard to tell which way the game was going to go. Fortunately, it went the right way for the Seahawks.
All right, the Jets again at the end of the third quarter. You see 10-3. No, we're still in the third quarter. Freeman McNeil will go for 18 yards here. Freeman with over 140 yards rushing today, finally brought down by John Harris. 3rd and 2. The safety blitz by Gregory Johnson. The pass incomplete. I don't know who he was throwing for there, but
Greg Johnson just puts the leather to Todd here.
Perfect hit.
I can guarantee you Richard will feel that one tomorrow.
All right, now Curt Warner had some troubles today too. As you see, fumbles here. 1st and 10 at the 5. Crosby recovers at the 4, and the New York Jets have the ball. We'll see a slow-mo again.
Well, these are the things that happen to a rookie running back like this, and he'll learn from his mistakes, and I'm sure he won't be fumbling as much when the year goes on.
Jets with the football. 3rd and goal at the 6-yard line. Todd.
Big play. Watch him. The ball hits his knee right there. That's what happened. and Richard should have been tucking that ball away, but it just, I'm sure he feels as bad as anybody about it.
Good to see Paul Moyer with a recovery. 10-3 Seahawks after 3 quarters. We'll be back with 4th quarter action and this Seahawk victory in New York today in just a minute. Tape action. Curt Warner scoring here to give the Seahawks an insurmountable lead. It seemed insurmountable at that point, 17-3. Warner with a great day. The drive going 17 plays, 69 yards.
One thing you can be assured of now is the Seahawks have a very good offensive line. And in my opinion, they've always had a good offensive line, but now you can be assured they got a good one.
The kickoff to the Jets, and they run it back, but at that point, time was running out. The Jets had all 3 timeouts remaining. They take it back to the 40, and they used up all 3 timeouts. It turned out Todd to Gaffney. Now, son of a gun, they start coming back here, Steve.
They do. They put a scare in us. And
well, that was
first time I saw that play, I didn't think it was good, but then the replay will show that it is a touchdown.
Let me go back on that one. That's Wesley Walker, who, hey, all you have to do is break the plane of that goal line, and that's what he did. It was controversial, but it counted. 17-10. The Jets coming back with, heck, they had like 2 minutes to go when they got the ball back again after the, you'll see here the Seahawks try to move it a little bit in the 4th quarter, 3rd down conversion, and it's Dornick who cleverly steps out of bounds here at the 35. Then up the middle we see Dornick again, but he fumbles and Woodring recovers for the Jets. And now it's time to get scared here as we see the play again.
We're going to have to eliminate these kinds of mistakes. We can't expect the defense to carry us the way they did throughout the season.
But watch the play by the man from Alabama, Keith Butler. Unbelievable interception. He takes it away from Freeman McNeil. The Jets.
That's right. He just outmuscles him here. I mean, it's anybody's ball, and he just outmuscles him.
Todd will go to Gaffney. I was getting a little scared on this one, Steve.
I was too.
A great play there. They're suddenly at the 22. We got like 1:03 to go in the game. But
here's a heads-up play here.
Thank goodness for Eugene Williams, who takes it right out of the hands of the intended receiver. And that is it for Richard Todd and the New York Jets. The Seahawks.
Well, I think this film justifies, Tony, that the defense just won the game today. There's no other way to put it.
The ground game on offense and the defense winning it for the New York Jets at Shea Stadium in New York, 17-10. Next week we've got San Diego. That's a whole different story. Let's just savor the victory for now.
We better see some offense next week, I'll tell you that.
Okay, for Steve Meyer, Tony Ventrella live at FX McCrory's. A good Seahawk win. We'll see you next Sunday.
Seahawks Sunday, brought to you by Alaska Airlines. Next trip, call your travel agent or Alaska Airlines and fly with a happy face. And by Rainier Brewing Company, brewers of Mountain Fresh Rainier and Rainier Light, 2 great tastes in beer.